Many people make the argument that foundational black Americans shouldn't receive reparations because we wouldn't know what to do with it. That if we receive reparations, it would all go to Cadillac, it would go to Nike, it would go anywhere but a place that would benefit the community. Let me explain to you all that this is a bad faith argument that is only used by people who truly do not have the best interests of the community at heart.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Like first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. Your host, Afro Elite. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you all so very much. We have much to discuss this evening. Okay, this is the first live stream of the month of June. We're starting off the month pretty good, pretty strong. I appreciate you all for being here. A little bit behind, but I want to start in enough time. I want to give enough time for us to get a couple of phone calls in. I want us to have a couple of phone calls in. All right. So we're not going to take too long. We're kind of going to get right started to it because we got to get some fact checking done. We definitely want to have that done. And then I want to get the family's take on the situation. Now, as we're getting started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the copyright disclaimer, so I can establish to YouTube that everything we play thus forth will be protected under the guise of fair use. To do a little bit of extra protection, what I've done is, especially with the Joe Budden podcast thing, I've edited that to a degree, so that's kind of chopped up a little bit. Later on, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the original link in the description. All right, I'm going to put the original link to the video in the description. So that's what I'm going to do. I need you all to hit that like button, double check to make sure you're subscribed, and we'll be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so family, we have, if you guys don't know, and I'm going to be as very fair as I can be. Okay, I'm going to be extremely fair. You all know me as a pretty fair person, even though I'm very firm in my beliefs. I am a very fair person and an understanding person. Even if I can disagree with you, I can disagree with you from a fair point of view and a fair stance. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Joe Budden, my stance on Joe Budden, I don't really watch his podcast to have a firm stance on him. There's some things he said I disagreed with. There's some things he said that I do agree with. From what I have seen personally, I've seen more things that I agree with than I disagree with from Joe Budden. I can't speak to the rest of his character or his history in the music industry. I don't know about that. I don't know that much about him. I'm just going off of what I've seen. Maybe I might find something to change my mind. It could be. As far as Ish is concerned, I would say that's kind of the opposite. I've seen more things from Ish, which is a guest that he has, one of his panelists, his regulars that he has on his podcast. I've seen more from Ish that I disagree with than I agree with. Okay, I'm gonna play this clip. It is edited. It's kind of like a lot of zooming in, zooming out. I'm doing that to protect the channel from any copyright claims or anything like that, so we can stay on the safe side. But we're gonna play this and we're gonna discuss it, where Ish says he's against reparations and why.
Around of, but there's a clip going around of you saying that you didn't believe that black people should get reparations.
Oh, I read that.
Did you?
I didn't see the clip, but I read somebody say that, how disappointed they were in him saying that. That he said that because they need financial literacy. He said that black people, if they get the money, they're wasted or whatever because they don't have financial literacy. What did you say?
I'm waiting for you to finish.
That's exactly what will happen.
No, I'm waiting for you to finish your question. Like,
I think that's what he asked.
End of your question.
What about it?
Do you believe black people should get reparations?
No, I think black people should get equity, and I think the two are different. I think that I'm not really a fan of handouts. Like, I don't want your money. I just want me to be able to make my money and you not be on my dick about making it. I don't think that if we get reparations, we're gonna fare any better. Me personally, I don't think that. So I think reparations would be a waste for most. Some would definitely take the money and do some positive things with it, but I don't think it'll get us no better if we're not changing how we're being treated in America. I don't think reparations going to change. Like, I don't want
Okay.
equality, I want equity. So
Okay, we're gonna pause it right there, and we're gonna break it down. The argument of I don't want equality, I want equity. Okay, what you don't want equality, you want equity. All right, the equity is supposed to bring equality, right? That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to counterbalance the fact that we're not all at the same foot. All right, and that is supposed to bring us towards a path for equality, truly. But the thing is that when you frame reparations as reparations is not going to be enough, I disagree with that argument. I disagree with that stance. Here is the problem with that. If you frame that, I can somewhat understand where you're coming from, even though you're wrong. All right, like a teacher. Sometimes when we're talking about reparations, and I see somebody say something, I disagree and they're wrong, but I understand where they're coming from. Like if a student comes up and you ask, what is 5 times 5? And you say 5 times 5 is 10. You're incorrect. 5 times 5 is not 10. You're incorrect. I understand where you got that wrong. You are confusing multiplication with addition. You're confusing those two things. So now that I can understand where you are, now I understand I need to teach you the difference between multiplication and division. Okay, because if it was division, you'd be correct. Now, if somebody was to say, well, reparations wouldn't really be beneficial because we would need this and that, and we wouldn't be at the starting point that we need to make the benefit. That would be one thing that we could debate, even though that would not be correct, but that would be one thing. But when you frame reparations as a handout, that lets me know, okay, you're not on the right track whatsoever. That's the point that lets me know you are in no way on the right track, on the right path as far as the reparations conversation. Because to frame something as a handout is to frame it as they have the money, it belongs to them, and that they're giving it to us unwarranted. They're giving us unwarranted resources or unwarranted money or opportunities or whatever the case is to help us out. Okay, the framing of reparations as a quote unquote handout is 100% incorrect. There's absolutely nothing right about framing it in that way. It's not a handout whatsoever. All right. Even if you look at it like, hey, we really need reparations, which we do. And the way I frame it as, I frame reparations as a debt that is owed. But there are other people who frame reparations as a necessity. That they are correct. Reparations is a necessity. All right. But we're not just going for reparations because reparations is a necessity, and this is coming from me. We're going for reparations because regardless of it being a necessity or not, it's owed. Regardless. So, is reparations a necessity for Oprah? No. Oprah's probably going to be good for the remainder of her years, okay? Unless she does some incredibly bad business and gets into a lot of debt, she's going to be fine. Is a reparations a necessity for LeBron James? No. Or Michael Jordan? No. Reparations is not a necessity for them. It's probably not a necessity for your favorite comedians. It's probably not a necessity for Eddie Murphy. It's probably not a necessity for them. However, it is owed to all of them. Like them, love them, or hate them. It's owed to them. Okay? It is. And it's owed to the people we like. It's owed to the people we dislike. It's owed, and we have to frame it as it's owed to the people who are well off. It's owed to that. Al Sharpton. Now, we all know Al Sharpton is a Democrat shield to the fullest degree possible. If as long as he a part of the lineage, he is still owed reparations. Okay, that's not our say so. Now we can determine if he can be accepted culturally in the community, you know what I'm saying, as an influence. Of course not. But if he's, as long as he's a part of the lineage, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, if they are part of the lineage, they get it. I mean, and there's nothing we can say about that because they can verify that if they can verify that they are part of the lineage, that is what they're owed. Love them or hate them. Oprah, Gail, Clarence Thomas. I mean, love them or hate them, that because it is owed to them. And as a true advocate for reparations, I'm not gonna sit up here and deny something that is owed to somebody off of me not liking them, or off of them quote unquote not needing it. So that's why if we want to have the conversation of reparations as a need, I think it's important because that stresses the urgency of reparations. Okay? It goes to highlight the urgency of reparations, how reparations cannot continue to be pushed back, pushed off, set aside. We're going to have this conversation later. We're going to wait for another election cycle. We're going to do, no, we need to highlight the urgency of reparations so that can continue to be a talking point, continue to put pressure on the politicians and the lawmakers about reparations. However, regardless of need or not, it's still owed. Okay, it's still what it is. So the fact that you're framing it as a handout shows to me it's less of, well, I think that we would waste it. It's more of, really, because when you frame it as a handout, more of it is you feel like we don't deserve it. You feel like what theirs is theirs, and we shouldn't be allowed access to that. Okay, that's when you say handout. That's what it's showing me. That's what it's telling me.
So if you got a 500-year head start, and now me and Parks are able to both make $100 a day, Parks gonna keep his 500-year head start. It's not.
But if you got twice that much money,
and then I got twice that much money, and they still don't change the way that we are being treated, it's going to be futile and useless.
But the way,
oh, go ahead.
Because you said before that it's about rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we being treated is because we're poor.
No, I think that yes and no. I think
So,
that.
so let me just finish. So if we did get the money, would it change how we're treated because they're not necessarily poor anymore?
No, because they're not going to give you enough money for you to be rich. Reparations, they're going to have to give 13% of the population reparations. And then they're going to decide if you got black blood, if you don't, like when we get the reparations.
No. That's another thing too. All of that, who got black blood? This is the year 2025, y'all. Who do you honestly believe doesn't have a trace of black DNA in them in America? Honestly, who do you believe has absolutely no trace of any black ancestry whatsoever? They were just saying that the Pope, the new Pope, he go back, his like great grandpa or something like that was a black person who might have been from Haiti, might have been from Louisiana, or whatever the case is. They'll go back that far. Who do you think alive today, especially from America, doesn't have any black blood whatsoever? We're not talking about the one drop rule. We're not one dropping our way into reparations. We're not going to be doing that. This is about lineage. Okay, are you a part of the lineage or not? You don't get to, well, hold on now, I do have 17% black DNA, so where's my check? No, it's not about your DNA stuff. No. Okay, you would give the foundational black Americans reparations for that. Another thing that the other guy said, I don't know his name, but what the other guy said, they oppress you because you're poor. It's not about us, and I do mean black folk, and our oppression being about, keyword, about us being poor. It's not about us being poor. The problem is when you disenfranchise and target people, and you can subjugate them a lot easier, and you have a lot firmer grasp on the control of their community when they are poor. That is the problem. Okay, because if that's the case, you would see black people and white people who are on the same economic level being treated the same, and you don't. You don't. Okay. Black people and white people are not treated the same despite having low economics. If a poor white and a poor black are not treated the same, a rich black and a rich white are not treated the same. So the issue is not out of the reason for it, let me say, is not out of your socioeconomic status. Your socioeconomic status is something that is leveraged and used against you for their benefit. It allows them to put this pressure of subjugation on you, but it is not the cause for it. All right, let's be clear with that, because I don't want people to slip into the really it's like a classism thing. No, it's just racism. That's just that's just what it is. Okay.
One, the reparations don't come with a financial literacy package to show you how to use the money to your best advantage.
That I agree with.
That's number one. Number two, it's black people that make a shit ton of money today that still don't do nothing with the money and don't gain nothing in society just because they have money. So I don't think the reparations is the end all be all. I think that's a cop out for me. It's my opinion.
Okay. Let's take it like this. Right? Is reparations, and this is a very serious question, and to me, I'm going to answer my stance on it. And I think a lot of you guys will agree, but some of you may not, and that's fine. Is reparations the quote unquote end all be all? No. Reparations is not the end all be all. I hope we understand that after we get reparations, oh, we won, the fight is over. No. I hope can we agree on that? Show me give me the hand up emoji if you agree. If you agree that after we get reparations, there's still a lot of work to be done, show me the hand up emoji. Because I don't think we are fooled that reparations is not going to just end our racism. It's not going to end all racism. It's not going to end all subjugation. It's not going to end all everything. We're going to use the reparations as a tool to change the system. That's the whole thing. That's the goal of it. It's not the thing of after reparations, okay, we good now, we straight now. No, that's never been the thing. Okay, that's never been the thing. So when you say, well, reparations is not the end all be all, we can agree on that. But your whole thing is, if reparations doesn't fix it 100%, just cash payments alone, scrap the whole thing. Okay, well, that's letting me know that you really don't want us to even get that close. That's what it's showing me, that you don't even want us to get that close. Because it would be one thing. I could kind of accept the argument, even though I wouldn't necessarily agree, and we'll get into that after the whole thing is played. Even though I wouldn't fully agree, but I could entertain the argument or accept your stance if you said reparations, the package of reparations, because I do think that we all agree that reparations should come in a package. It shouldn't just be one item or one thing. It should come in a package of relief and restitution, the same way it does with every other community. Okay, the same way it does with every other community anytime reparations has ever been dished out. And if you say within the package of reparations, there should be something about financial literacy, access to financial literacy or financial literacy education or whatever the case is, I can hear that argument out. But if you're going to say, well, because you deem personally that black people are not financial literate enough, scrap the whole thing, then that's letting me know it's not about financial literacy. The financial literacy argument or counter argument is a cop out to say, no, I don't agree with it. All right, we're going to keep playing. We're going to continue.
I would just say, one, and I get the idea of not taking handouts, but the whole argument of reparations that it's not a handout, that's owed, right? That it's reparations literally means repair,
Gotcha.
Repair the damage done. So the idea is, if you took, like you said, if you got a 100-year head start and you took my money for 100 years, you exploited my labor, and all this stuff was built around our labor, universities, companies, insurance, all
the country.
Yeah, the whole country, right? Every institution. Then giving us reparations isn't a handout. It's actually what we owe, what we're owed. And then the second part of that, I think, is I've never heard people say reparations is either or. You know, I've been part of the reparations movement for a long time, not like a leader of it, but just advocating for it. And every reparations person I know is also asking for voting rights, housing protections, other things. And then the last part of it is I think reparations should be a check. I think every descendant of slavery, to be clear, so I don't get hit on it, every descendant of American slavery here in the United States deserves reparations.
Gotcha.
But I also think in addition to the check, we should also have access to free public education, like university education. We should also there's other things you can do systemically to close that gap in addition to the money. So I think we could.
But when we talk about reparations overall, we're talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
You taking it when most.
Okay. No, let me pause that real quick. Okay. Here's the thing. Mark, can't disagree. You know, as far as us all being owed reparations, all that stuff. My problem, let me explain what my problem is, because you all know I'm the person, I will give props where props is due. But I got an issue. Now, Mark, when election season comes up, you don't talk like this at all. Mark doesn't talk like this whatsoever. Okay? Anytime we're talking about, oh, we got to put pressure on the politicians, the page Mark is on right here, he's not on that whatsoever. That's my issue. Not that I disagree with what he just said right there. Reparations can come, and as far as like free education and college education, everybody ain't trying to first off go to college or go back to college. Everybody ain't trying to do that. My problem is, Mark, and when Kamala was running and we was talking about, okay, well, Kamala, what do you your stance on reparations? Or even prior to that, when Biden was running and we were talking about, okay, Biden, what's your stance with reparations? We wasn't hearing that. We didn't hear this. Okay, well, reparations should be owed. It's about the fact it's a debt that's owed. All that the stuff we saying. Mark is starting to sound more like us as the time goes forward. If you guys are noticing that, he started to sound more like us with the Carmelo Anthony situation, with the Shiloh Hendricks situation, now with the reparations situation. Okay. And this is the part where, okay, we can agree. And then next thing you know, because when election season comes, that's when the rubber really meets the road. When election season comes, that's when you know who's the real one and who ain't. When election season comes and you see who kind of folds and who kind of backs off their strong stance and who kind of like folds back a little bit, who kind of compromises, who kind of says, okay, well, we can do it next time. That's when you see who the real ones are. Okay, that's when you see that. When you see election season come and we all like, nah, we said this 7 months ago, that, and we keeping the same energy for all 7 months till right now. We said this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and we keeping this energy the entire way through. That's how you know who's the real one. All right, because it's real easy for people to say this now when there's no election season popping up, but now when there's an election season coming up, then you kind of fall back and you're very soft shoe and coy about especially about reparations. Yeah, that I don't like that. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I didn't disagree, but I do have to say that, Mark, because we are gonna be watching. Don't pull this up and then backtrack.
People in a general sense talk about reparations, they talk about a check.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's fair.
If you said, yo, do you think every descendant of slavery should get free education? Yeah. And again, it just depends on
would you if you got all the other stuff, would you be okay with
free education? What? No, ain't no free education. Okay, we'll let this play.
check two?
I wouldn't be turned down to check now.
No, I mean as an idea. I don't mean would you turn it down?
I just think that I don't think it's going to do what people think it's going to do. I think that a lot of times people just be like, yo, if my mother worked at such and such, I would be doing better. Or if all of that shit, to me, it's the same ideology, in my opinion. And it's funny that
Okay, first off, the whole, well, if my mother was doing this and my mother had such and such a job, I would be doing better. More than likely, you would be doing better. Let's be honest. More than likely, yeah, you would. You would be doing better. Do you think Donald Trump got it out the mud like that? Do you think that? Or do you think, the little bit of help that he got from his father, you know, the small little $1 million loan that he got from his father, do you think that, you know, helped him out? Or do you think that Donald J. Trump just got it out the mud just like that? Do you think all of these other people just got it out the mud like that? No, these people had generational wealth and generational access to opportunity and assistance. So if I was to say, if my parents, when I was born, if my parents were both making six figures when I was born, and I have better opportunities to education, tutoring, networking, and resources that my parents probably would have set up for me the way kind of, you know, Donald Trump and all of these people have. Because either these people get handed things or they just steal them. That's all of these people who are rich and wealthy. All the richest and the wealthiest people, they've either gotten handed it, just handed it, they've stolen it from other people, or that they pretty much they cheated to get it, which was all kind of being handed it, or a mix of everything. Okay, you can look at Bill Gates. Was that all his idea? Does he no? He stole it. Mark Zuckerberg stole it. Elon Musk stole it. Like, they all stole it, or it was given to them, or a little bit of both. While you want to talk about us, everybody else is cheating and stealing and giving stuff. So if we had opportunities, like he said, well, if my mother worked somewhere, yes. And that is the problem. The problem is that each generation of black folk, we're starting from the ground up, and they don't have to. That is the problem. If my parents were business owners when I was a baby, and they was able to expand their businesses and accumulate wealth before I became an adult, that would really give me opportunity to whether I wanted to go to school, whether I wanted to continue their business or whatever, I would have much more opportunities, much more lucrative opportunities than what I had. And I'm not saying they were destitute or anything, than what you would have if they didn't have that. And I'm sure that goes for a lot of you all listening live right now. I'm sure it does. So no, it's not a cop-out. That's us talking about the reality of when we say things, is we got to get it out the mud. When we say things like about reparations or wealth or businesses and everything like that, it's this get it out the mud, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, don't look at nobody else, don't compare yourself to anybody else, just work hard and you got it. And then the second you really start to analyze how everybody else got so far ahead in the race, you get to start seeing, okay, well, hold on, it's a lot of cheating going on. It's a lot of little shortcuts going on. It's a lot of little handouts going on. Now, the whole thing with Donald Trump and all of that stuff, and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and all of these other people, those are not considered handouts whatsoever. Even what's the Amazon guy? Not Bill Gates, the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos. Even Jeff Bezos, when he was starting his money, he got it from a community of people who donated to Amazon before it became this big corporation. Okay? That's the fact that he had a pool of people who had disposable income that we don't have. I can have a genius business idea. I can't go to somebody and be like, hey, do you mind if you invest $20,000 in my business? Most foundational black Americans don't just have $20,000 of disposable income. You can just do and invest in a business like that. I wouldn't even be able to go to 10 people and get $20,000. The average. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's a lot. It's a lot more difficult. So when you start to actually really analyze how these people got so far ahead and how these people stay so far ahead, you're going to actually see, yeah, a lot of cheating is going on. And if I had the head start advantage that they all did, I would be better off. All right, let's continue.
that Mandy interview, the shit that we highlight is the one thing that we ain't highlight nothing else.
Oh, I didn't see the menu.
We ain't highlight nothing else. All the other positive shit, we definitely gonna go to the negative shit, which I think is goofy, but it's cool. Again, I think
I don't. That was a.
I think the education is more important.
I don't. I disagree with that.
It's one thing. Here's the thing. Now I feel like Ish is backtracking. I feel like Ish is backtracking on what he said, because it would be one thing to say I feel like education is more important. Okay, is it more important, or do you think that reparations cash payments is a quote unquote handout? Because you didn't say, well, you know, I agree with the concept of reparations, but in my opinion, I think that we should all go to college, even though Ish ain't going back to college. He wouldn't do that. Ain't nobody on this panel is going back to college or free education. So technically, on none of these people on this panel, I'm not sure who's I think Joe Budden is FBA. I think so. I haven't heard anything about him not being FBA. But Joe Budden ain't going back to college. Ain't none of them going back to college. All of them I would assume, early 50s, at least late 40s. Ain't none of them trying to go back to college. Who was trying to go back to college in your late 40s and early 50s? Nobody's trying to do that. Nobody in this chat room, we ain't trying to do that. Anybody left college ain't trying to go back. And anybody over a certain age ain't trying to go back. So now, is college important? And we had a live stream about that not too long ago. It's not a bad idea to put as an addition to cash payments. And what he said before, when people talk about reparations, we talk about cash. Yes, because we've properly framed it as tangible cash payments. Because what you all have done is you all have said that everything else except cash, all these other programs, whether it's affirmative action, whether it's DEI, all of these other initiatives, that's really reparations. How often have we heard, well, welfare is really reparations. Affirmative action is really reparations. DEI is really reparations. And all of these quote unquote race conscious assistance programs, or whatever the case is, whatever they call it nowadays, they claim as reparations. So we have reformed the conversation and the narrative and meaning of reparations to, no, we're going to get to the cash payments, the same ones that you guys didn't have that much of an issue with giving to the Japanese, didn't have much of an issue with giving to the Native Americans, didn't have much of an issue with when it comes to giving to everywhere else. So we're going to frame it in that context. In that context alone. So when you ask black people about reparations, if you was to ask black people, do you want cash and something else? I'm almost certain that most black people will say, yeah, I don't mind having something in addition, keyword, addition to the cash, which I don't. Okay, let me be very clear. I don't mind that. And I don't think most of us do mind that. But when you say, okay, reparations or money or this, oh no, it's always gonna be cash. Oh yeah, if it's gonna be that or, it's always gonna be cash. Okay, because we understand that cash payment reparations, that's the heartbeat of reparations. That's like a body without a heart. I've said that before. So no, I'm not gonna have this dead body. No. So I would rather have the heart and then build off of that. If you're not going to give anything else, I can take the cash payments and we can all build off of that if there's nothing else to it. And we can get everything else that we need. But you're not going to say, okay, well, I'm going to give you everything else you need, and then it's going to work from there. No. We're just not going with that. Let's continue.
I think that you should be able to expound on something that sounds wild in an excerpt. So I brought it up so you can do that.
No, I get it.
That was it.
We
I didn't mean for the deep dive.
No, we how I look at some of these issues again is definitely, I've been up here 4 years. How I look at some of these issues is definitely on the opposite side of many people.
But that's okay.
No, I know. I'm saying I stand in that. I'm not against that. I stand in what I believe in. I think that Dave Chappelle had the thing about
reparations. He's like, yo, the Cadillac dealership gonna be empty in 2 days. Shit like that. Like, I just think that.
Yeah, the whole
But that's shit white people say to justify not giving it.
Yeah, I'm about to say then. So we cop Cadillacs then.
No, it ain't even just to justify not giving it.
Them
We
white
just-
boys
we
got all
just
that
saw-
crypto money and bought every Lambo in the spot.
But I'm just saying, we kind of
our
saw
money.
something similar, not similar, but we saw when people got access to a whole bunch of extra.
And I agree. And I agree with Mark, and I agree with Button in there. Hey, if we all gonna use the money and buy Cadillacs, then all right, then I guess we all getting Cadillacs. The whole community is just gonna have a lot of Cadillacs then. We're gonna have a whole lot of Cadillacs. We're gonna have a whole lot of Jordans. We're gonna have a whole lot of whatever stereotypical thing that you all think that black people indulge in. That's just what it's gonna be. So what's the argument then at that point? If you're gonna say, all right, I guess we ain't financially literate enough, I guess, all right, it is what it is. Then what?
Extra money they didn't expect during
PPP and
COVID.
all that shit, yeah.
And look what happened.
I'm of the belief that that's not my business.
True.
I'm not saying
Somebody-
that y'all are right, that y'all are wrong.
Yo-
That ain't my business. Somebody go get their check and blow it.
Of course.
It's funny.
Mine in the shoebox still.
This is a side, but
Okay, don't. And then the white dude comes up there and changes the conversation about it. Now we have this argument that black people are just like really not good when it comes to money and all of this stuff. And let me show you some statistics. Let's deep dive and let's do a little bit of statistics. But before we do, let me give a shout out to the super chat. We have a super chat from Dakota Jenkins. He says, "Why don't they do this with red Native Americans or when the Japanese Americans receive compensatory justice in the 80s? Reparations isn't new." Thank you. Reparations isn't new. It's been done before. It's never received this much flack. It's never received this much, I don't agree. What are we going to do? There's never been any I've never ever seen a Japanese naysayer say something. I'm Japanese and I don't think we should get reparations. We are the only group of people who will have agents in the community who are going to be naysayers or people who have such self-doubt and such self-hatred. They're going to be naysayers to the progress. No, I've never seen, and if there was any Japanese naysayers or Native American naysayers to reparations, they wouldn't platform them. Notice that the quote-unquote black people, and most of the time they're not even FBA, most of the time they're tethers, but even the ones that they do platform that are FBA who don't agree with reparations, right? Notice how the dominant society consistently gives them platforms. They consistently gives them platforms. I've never seen a single Japanese American say, I'm Japanese, and I don't think, even though it happened a long time ago, they wouldn't say, we shouldn't have got that. Or a Native American today say, we shouldn't get land back. We shouldn't get this. And they wouldn't platform them either. We're the only people where our agents, our naysayers, our contrarians are platformed above the people actually advocating for such a thing. Now, let's actually get into some data here, okay? Let's look at some information that we do have on the thing in reparations. Let's look at that. I'm going to show you that because a lot of people make a kind of bad faith argument that black people are just so bad with money and all of this stuff. And I'm going to say something. When you look at, let me show you this image. When you look at images of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we were having this, not just Tulsa, Oklahoma, but a lot of other Black Wall Streets. When you look at situations of a lot of Black Wall Streets, we were having these things right after slavery. All of this was right after slavery. So, you mean to tell me we become less financially literate after that? After that, we become less financially literate. Now, these were the people who were saying we were incapable. We're always incapable until we actually show them we know what we're doing and it can get done. We're always incapable. And then what do? They burn the thing down just to ashes. They don't do this with any other community. Only our community gets, the second we're striving, the second we're doing something we're supposed to be doing, the second we're leaving people alone, they come in and they wreck the whole thing. Blew it up. It's gone. Not a scrap of it left. It's deserted. It looks like bombs hit it because they did. And black people, of course, we gotta continue to pull ourselves up and pull ourselves up and pull ourselves up and pull ourselves up. Let me show you something. And we do. We do every time. We do every time. Let me pull this up for you guys. Okay? Read this. So we're going to look a little bit into this. Okay? And this is from the Brookings Education. It says black business ownership jumped, yet it's still far. Sorry, crook in my neck, y'all. Is still far from parity with the U.S. population. Okay, so black people actually are increasing our business ownership by a lot. We're increasing our business ownership by a lot, but it's okay. But according to them, it's still, well, according to data, we're still behind, and we're gonna look at this. Okay, it says from 2017 to 2022, the number employer businesses, and what this means is that these are businesses that employ other people. So they have other people on the payroll. So, you know, you'll have a lot of black owned businesses, but there'll be one person businesses. So that's like a black woman who she'll do hair. She'll, you know, do hair in her house or something like that. Or a black man, he might go out and do some carpentry work or a paint job, like an entrepreneur. But these are people who have businesses that employ other people. So this is who they're referring to. All right. It says from that number up to 2022. Now, mind you, this was during the pandemic as well, too. You have to add those numbers in. The number of employer businesses owned by black entrepreneurs increased by 56.9 or 70,581 figs, which we're going to see the data, with an average annual growth rate of 9.7 from 2021 to 2022 alone. The number of black-owned employer businesses increased by 20.8% to a total of 194,585 firms nationally. Yet despite this growth, the share of employer businesses black people own is 3.3%, substantially lower than black Americans' 14.4 share of the population. So even though we are increasing and we're defeating the odds and we're doing what we got to do, we're still behind, which, you know, can be expected because of all of the sabotage. Now they're going to show some numbers here. So we're going to look at some of the data right here. You can see, let me get my logo off the screen. You guys will be able to see a little bit better. And as you guys are looking at this, I would really, really would, if you guys would hit that like button. Okay? If y'all would hit that like button, that would really help us out, brothers and sisters. Okay? So as you can see, black businesses throughout the years are actually starting to increase and actually starting to grow. Now, it's not as high as it's supposed to be. When you look at that, especially when it comes to that in comparison to other ethnic groups of people, which we'll have here, we're showing you right here, when we compare that to other ethnic groups of people, don't know why Hispanic is at the top, even though they're not the number one. But these are employers' businesses characteristic by race. Now, mind you, most of this is really small-owned businesses where people hire their family. And a lot of these non-black businesses get to hire people illegally. They'll have like their underage children working, or they have their cousin who's not really supposed to be in the country working. So a lot of them get a lot of leeway when it comes to that stuff that we would never get. But as you can see, when it comes to the population, we make up 14, according to what they say, we make up 14.4%. They make up 18.8%. But when it comes to the share of employer businesses, we make up only 3.3, and they make up 7.8. Okay, so that's if you round that up, that's close to about 3 times. Okay, And as you can see, the overwhelming majority of businesses in this country that employ other people are white owned. Okay. You see, even when you look at all of so this goes to show the number of huge disparities that we do have to face in this country. So this highlights the need for reparations, because we've been the only ones who've had neighborhoods completely burned down to the ground, had to start from scratch. We've been the only ones having to do that, while other people, such as the Asian American community, they've received reparations, okay? This is Ronald Reagan signing reparations for Native Americans. This is Harry S. Truman signing reparations, or the commission that would lead to reparations for Native Americans. So while these people have received reparations that we've never received, and we have to scratch up, we have to claw our way up from the bottom again and again and again, this is why this number is like this. So this goes to show the importance of us receiving reparations. And even still, despite this, we still have an incredible number of growth. Now, how is this number growing so steadily and such a high rate if we have this financial literacy issue that they claim we have? If the black community, let's talk about it. If the black community, hold on, let me get this off the screen. If we really had the financial literacy issue that they claim we have, we would pretty much have no businesses, don't you think? There would be no long-standing businesses at all. We definitely wouldn't have an increase in any of those businesses. Our business would never be able to withstand a single hard time, a single rainy day. We would never be able to have anything. If that was the argument, honestly, if the argument was that we are so ignorant, okay, we're so childish in our spending, which nobody's saying that there's not room for improvement. But the way they embellish on the lack of financial literacy that they try to make the argument when they're making the claim that we don't deserve reparations, can you explain to me how we're doing this then? Can you explain to me how we're doing this? How are black people increasing the number of not only black-owned businesses, because you can be a business in and of yourself, just one person, but how are we increasing the number of black-owned employer businesses if we're just so financially illiterate? Can somebody answer that? Can somebody answer that? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Is there room for improvement in the community? Yes. I'm pretty sure there's not a honest black person who will tell you that as a community, there's not better spending habits we can practice. There's not a single black person I've ever heard of that's gonna say that there's not better spending habits that we can have. I mean, we've made that argument. That argument has been made from Dr. Claude Anderson all the way up till today. There's definitely better spending habits we can make. Yes, indeed. Yes, there is. Okay. What we are going to add is that there's better spending habits that everybody else can make. One of the things that was said in the podcast that Joe Budden said, and I'll give him his credit for saying, is that when white people got their money and they went to buy Bitcoin and everything like that, they blew it. We give all of these other communities so much credit for being financially literate. No, these people are not financially literate, and that's how they're getting it out. We've co-signed and perpetuate their narrative. These people are not. These people have received reparations for a harm that is far less egregious than what we've received. The Native Americans, the same Native Americans that worked alongside slave owners as slave catchers. Yes, the same Native Americans. Yes, them. Yes, indeed. And they've received stuff. And nobody makes the argument that they're not financially literate enough. Okay? Nobody makes that argument. So I'm not going to entertain that argument over here. But yet, y'all, there's still more I want to discuss with y'all. So, in politics, we have Tyrone Muhammad, and he's running for Senate in Illinois. I met him. Cool. We really didn't chop it up like that. He wasn't cool, but all right. He's running, and he had a good interview, or he had an interview. I don't want to call it good necessarily, but he had an interview with our good sister, Vicki Dillard. And I'm going to play that clip, and they discuss reparations. And we're going to play it. We're going to break it down as they discuss it, all right? I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to let them talk. Mostly, I'm going to interject here or there, but let's play. Let's get started. Y'all ready? Let's go.
That's right. And that's the reason why, in addition to those things that you mentioned, reparations is very important, especially on the federal level, that we normalize that conversation, because we're done with the studies. We're done being played with. We're done with the U.S. government, the largest agency, the Department of Defense. You know, they've had at least 7 audits that they have not passed, and they cannot account for trillions with a T. I've discussed and brought those articles and receipts before my audience and also in African diaspora. I've talked about this a few times, where our government cannot account for trillions with a T, trillions of dollars, and they have not passed at least 7 audits for the largest federal government agency. So I want them to cut the check. So that's what we're saying. So Black folks around the country, that is one of the top galvanizing issues, especially on the federal level. And we're not talking about them playing with us with these studies in HR 40, because if I understand it right, the studies for reparations on the federal level has been played with since the 80s.
But this the issue. Everything you just said, here we are, 60 years, 100 years, Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They ain't brought no reparations.
Yeah.
We want to talk about Trump and reparations.
Yeah.
Why would, if I was Trump, I say, why would I give y'all some reparations? Y'all voted Democratic. Y'all done had 12 years. Y'all done had Biden. Y'all had Clinton.
Obama.
Y'all had Obama. And y'all haven't gotten reparations.
Yeah.
So what are you talking to me for?
Yeah.
Me? Everybody know me. No.
Okay, let me stop that real quick. What he said is, you know, Trump, if I was Trump, I'd be all like, y'all voted for all of these other people. Why should I give y'all reparations? Well, reparations, what we're not going to frame, and that's what one of the very important things, what we're not going to frame reparations as is reparations is quid pro quo. It is, but it isn't. And when I say it is because, okay, y'all want our vote, we want something for it. But it's not like, okay, well, if you don't vote for me, I don't owe you reparations. No, if you are working for the federal government, the whole federal government owes us reparations. We're not going to frame this as, well, y'all didn't vote for me, so I don't owe y'all reparations, or I shouldn't give y'all reparations. Trump definitely still should, despite black people voting for him or not, give reparations, because as the president of the United States, he is responsible for the debt that the country owes. Just like Biden was, just like Obama was, all of them were responsible. Trump is also, he's the one who signed up to be the president. Trump is also responsible for the debt that is owed. It's not because, well, y'all didn't vote for me, so I don't owe y'all anything. That's not how that works. Okay? So I get the incentive to push reparations probably would be lost because we didn't vote for him. That doesn't mean that the actual debt is not on him. It is on whoever is in control of the government, because it's a government entity that you all chose to run for and get elected to. So that part is up to you. Okay? Don't make it seem like reparations is something that you give in exchange. It's owed. You don't give it in exchange for a vote. Now, we're leveraging our vote for it, despite the fact that really we shouldn't have to. But we're strategically doing it because that's the position we're in. But the thing is that anybody up in there owe us. Not just the Democrats, not just Biden, not just Obama, not just Kamala, all of them. All of them. ALL, all of them owe us. So let's not do that now.
I don't believe in reparations, although I support it. And this is what I mean. I don't believe in them giving me nothing. I believe we should take it.
Mm.
I don't believe in you giving me nothing. You want the enemy to enrich you. And furthermore, I don't believe in giving our people anything before we educate our people on stock, bond, mutual funds, CDs, money market accounts, Roth IRAs, Bitcoins. We don't even know economics for us to be talking about money. All we're going to do is give it back to Gucci, Poochie, Suchi, Benz, Lexus, Range Rover. All we're going to do is give it back to them. And people would say, well, it's ours to give. No, dummy. You only going to enrich the very oppressor with our trillions that you just said you trying to get equality with. I believe that reparations starts with us identifying that we should control the businesses in our neighborhoods. That we should run every damn foreigner out of our neighborhood, because I cannot set up business in Greektown, Little Italy, and Mexico, Little Mexico. I can't set up business in Chinatown. You know why I can't set up business in Chinatown, Vicki? Because they will not shop with me.
Right.
So why do we continue to allow people to give us? We even got foreigners, Arabs, feeding us chicken. We got people frying chicken for us.
Mm-hmm.
We got Mexicans frying chicken for us. We got Indians frying chicken for us. We can't fry chicken. But sister, that's my thing. My thing would be, reparation for me would be first, succinct education that focuses on reading, evaluating, and ridding our mind of slave mentalities. And before you can even think about getting any money, you have to take psychological class as well as certain economic classes on how wealth, resources, stocks, bonds, how real estate, how these things, economics works, before I will put a dime in your hand.
Okay. I'm going to pause it right here. Let me pause this right here, because it's some more. It's some more, y'all. I did tell y'all to brace yourselves, didn't I? I hope I did. I know y'all out there just kind of cringing right now. I know you guys are kind of cringing, grinding your teeth. My bad. But we got to discuss it. I know. My bad, y'all. But we got to discuss it. I know it's cringy, but, you know, we got to get through it. We getting through it together. It was cringy for me, but we getting through it together. All right? The argument that reparations is you're asking your oppressors to enrich you. No. And we need to stop framing it like that and stop even having a conversation where it's framed in that narrative. Okay? Listen, and I've said this before, how you frame something, how you speak about something determines how you view a certain situation, determines how you view that thing. How you view that thing determines on what you will do about said thing. All right? Even yourself. How you speak about yourself, which is why it's always important to not speak negatively about yourself, okay? This is a psychological thing. How you speak about yourself determines how you view yourself. How you view yourself determines or is going to be a huge determining factor on what you are going to do with yourself and with your life. That also goes for the community. How you speak about other black people determines how you view other black people. How you view other black people determines what you're going to do with other black people. When I hear people make the argument that, oh, y'all gonna spend it at Gucci, at Balenciaga, y'all gonna spend it at Coach, y'all gonna be buying all of this Cadillac and Jordans and all of that stuff, that's giving me a window into your mind. about how you view black people in general. You view black people from a very stereotypical lens just to even form reparations or how we would spin reparations in that way. Are there black people who are going to buy that stuff? Yes. Are there black people who are going to buy a little bit of that stuff and then use, invest, save, start a business, go to school, whatever the case may be, buy property, whatever the case may be with some of the other money? Yes. Do I think that as a community, as a whole, black people are nearly as financially illiterate as they're trying to make it seem? No, I don't. Let me ask you guys a question. What determines, this is a serious question, what determines how financially literate an entire community is? Or is that just a talking point that is used to gaslight us, that is used to victim blame us? Is that it? How? Let me ask you this question. Have we ever really stopped to think, what is the determining factor of how financially literate it is? Now, you might think, okay, well, we can determine it based on how they spend their money. Okay. Well, that would be a fair comparison. It would only be a fair comparison, though, if you had another community to fairly compare this community to. How are you going to say a community that has survived literal bombings of the city, being torn down, not just Tulsa, Oklahoma, not just Rosewood, but several other cities, even to this current day? Then you got to go with the Highway Act. Then you got to go with redlining. Then you got to go with all of these other things. Eminent domain. You have to go with the stuff that's happening to this very day. And you're comparing that community that's been systemically oppressed by the, not just a state, but by the entire government, waged war on by the entire government. And you're going to compare that community to a community that's been pedestalized and given handouts from the start of the country to the current day. And you're going to say, okay, well, the community that's farther ahead, despite me giving handouts, despite me saving time and time again, they're more financially literate than you all. You all, the reason why you guys are like that is because you guys are not financially literate. You guys are not worthy of this. Is that a talking point? What makes them, how do we determine that? Because when I look at this, when I look at the actual statistics of black people increasing in our, not only business ownership, and not only the locations, which is really the location you see most black people in, especially you see it mostly in the South and in that area. But when you see that and you see the increase, it makes me start to really scratch my head about, okay, are we really as financially illiterate as you guys are saying? Or are you guys just saying that because you want us to see ourselves that way? That's the thing. This just might be me, but hear me out, y'all. I honestly do not think that we would even be able to survive as long as we have if we're just that stupid. I don't believe that. Everywhere I turn and I see a black person, the stat I just gave you, we're the people who make lemons into lemonade all of the time. All of the time. We're the ones who do that. We're always the ones to bounce back first. We're always the ones to save the economy. We're always the ones to make it out. I don't think we will be able to survive whatsoever or have ownership of anything whatsoever if we were nearly as financially illiterate as they're trying to make us seem. How were we able to build a Black Wall Street 1, 2, or 3? Or all of the several ones we had after slavery, where literacy in the whole country was at its lowest point. And we were still learning how to read and simultaneously building a community at the same time, a thriving community at the same time. And this just might be me, y'all, but let me say this. I don't think that black people, foundational black Americans, I don't think that we are this financial illiterate group of people that see a whole bunch of consumer goods and we're all like, Jordans, oh my God, Jordans, oh my God, Prada, oh my God, Gucci, oh my God, Balenciaga. I don't see us that way. I personally don't. Is there room for improvement? Yes, of course there is room for improvement. I don't think that there is any black person who's going to tell you that black people are flawless in everything we do and we don't mess up ever and anything we do is right. I don't think that there is anybody who's going to tell you that there is not a little bit of room for improvement. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that this embellished talking point that, well, y'all know y'all kind of stupid. I mean, that's like giving a baby a fork. I mean, the baby gonna hurt himself. We wouldn't do that now. No. I don't see that. And then when I look at all of the other people that you guys have given reparations to, I've never heard that argument be made. I've never heard that argument be made. And I honestly don't think that you ever will hear this argument be made, because the argument is not made because you guys actually care about the growth and the prosperity of the community. The argument is a bad faith, disingenuous argument that is being made because you really don't agree with reparations. And you not agreeing with reparations and you forming it as they're giving us their money or our enemy enriching us shows us not only what you think of us, but also what you think of the quote-unquote enemy of white supremacy, okay? Because it's not them enriching us. I don't even like the way that you would word it that way. It's not them enriching us. It's them giving back what they stole. They stole that from us. Let me show you something else, y'all. Because we gotta show y'all the receipts here. That's what we're going to be doing this evening. We're going to be showing receipts. Hold on. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Look at this. Hold on. Right here. Okay. We're not going to go through the whole thing because it's a lot. Trust me, it's a lot. But we're going to go through enough of it. When I say they stole it, they stole it. We're making it seem like, hey, y'all, we were just really bad. Can we get a little bit of help? No. We wouldn't need this help if y'all didn't steal our stuff. Y'all stole it. Okay, look at all these people who've been prosperous off of us. Companies and organizations directly or indirectly benefited from slavery. The U.S. government used slaves to build the White House, federal buildings, other buildings, canal improvement, extension, construction, all of this stuff. We wouldn't even have to. The U.S. Army used slaves. Okay, I'm trying to get as much as, read as much as this as possible. Okay, faith-based organization, the Catholic Church. Okay, all of this stuff benefited from slavery. Okay, businesses associated in some way with slavery. It says CSX Corp, Norfolk Southern. Okay, and it says the mobile, this is the Norfolk Southern. I'm trying to get as much as this as possible. Union Pacific, Canadian National, newspapers, Knight Rider, the Tribune, Media General, Advanced Publications, all of this stuff. Consumers, Brook Brothers made clothes for slaves. Tiffany's, founded with cotton mill profits from slave working with cotton. West Point Stephen, okay. Banks and financial institutions. It's a long list, but we're going to get a couple of them out the way. Brown Brothers, Harriman Brown. This is Harriman Brown, Lehman Bros, enslaved, owned slaves. Okay, J.P. Morgan, which is Chase, that's Chase Bank. Okay, Chase Manhattan Bank. It says Ridge Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Fleet Boston Financial Corporation. Okay, this is just a couple of them, just a couple of them. Okay, educational institutions. Okay, Harvard Law School, Harvard University, Yale University. This is Penn, they own that. It says Columbia University, Riskers Brown, Dartmouth. Twisting my tongue here. Dartmouth, okay, University of Delaware, all of that stuff, okay. All of these people own that stuff, and they use that stuff to enrich them. I want you to understand that the wealth didn't go anywhere. Do we understand that? That the wealth didn't go anywhere, that the wealth that they stole from our free labor, they still have. And they're still getting wealthy off of that today. And that's just a very little bit of the stuff that they stole. And they continue to steal things after slavery, like our inventions and stuff like that they still profit off of today. Like labor that they still profit off of today. We can go on and on. This stuff is stolen. These people are not wealthy, and then we're here like, come on guys, we really need some help. Can you guys help us out, please? And they're like, here you go. No, this is stolen stuff that we're making the demand that now you need to repay. You need to repay the people, the descendants of the people you stole their labor, you stole their humanity, you stole their freedom, you stole their dignity, and you need to make payments for that, okay? There needs to be compensatory payments, okay, for that. So when you frame it in that way, you're not going to be able to look at it as a handout. You're not going to be able to look at that as the oppressors making you rich. It's looked at as we are taking back what belongs to us in the first place. That's how we need to be looking at the whole thing. Let's continue with the interview though.
Have to talk those aspects to me first. We don't talk that enough. We keep talking about reparations. I refuse to give money to a black tyrant after replacing a white one. Meaning that these people get money. We are already ill we are already evil and vicious towards each other as a people. Then to add, you have money and resources on top of that without creating self-love, self-respect, and history of who you are, what you are, then you only create a worse nigga.
Yeah.
You just now go from being a black man that's poor and killing black people already to a black man that's rich that now can kill people with better weapons and now have better lawyers to even fight the cases. See, we got to quit playing with ourselves and acting like we are healthy and whole.
Yes.
I would not give a loaded gun to a mental health patient.
Yeah. Well, the thing is about that, which is why I pressed the reparations.
Okay, all right. Now Vicki has a response to what he had to say. And you know she has something to say about it. She listened, and she has something to say about it. Before we let Vicki say what she has to say in response, let me say this. Okay? Let me say this, right? That's a repeat of the whole black on black crime thing. And how I don't know how many live streams we've done discussing the black on black crime narrative and the mentally ill and all that. No. And all of these problems they're not going to get worse because of reparations. It's not because the community has too much money is why there's crime in the community. Is because of the lack of the money and the resources and the poor economic conditions as to why there's so much crime in the community. Like I said, how you word things, it shows me, it tells me, it indicates to me how you view the entire situation. How you word reparations and then what you think black people get is it shows me how you view black people as a whole, period. All right. Is there room for, now here's my thing. Like I said, is there room for improvement? Yes, I do agree. If somebody was to say to me, if there's a reparations package and in the package, there's cash payments, but in addition to the package, there's a financial literacy course or program or something that's free and that's voluntary, which when I say voluntary, I mean, it's not like, okay, you got to take the financial literacy and then you got to quote unquote pass in order to receive your reparations. It's optional. You can take it if you don't want to take it. That's cool. But you're going to get your reparations regardless. I think that would be a good thing. I think that, you know, it would be a good thing if you started it off from maybe age 15. That's high school age on up. You know what I'm saying? That I wouldn't have a problem in the world with that. As long as that is an addition, an optional addition. Because I don't want nobody being all like, you can't get your reparations if you don't want to take this course or take this class. If you want it, that's cool. If you don't want it, that's cool. You still get your reparations, all of your reparations. We're not going to withhold any of it. You still do that. That's cool. I don't think that that's a problem at all. You know, maybe 15 and up or whatever the case is, and because that's when they start to really kind of handle some money or whatever. Aid. Okay. Or if you want to start a business and you want to make sure you're doing it the right way, you want to make sure you're investing, or you want to invest, you want to make sure you do that the right way. I think that's a great idea. As long as that comes with, if that's an additional package to the cash payments of reparations. Without the cash payments, everything else is off the table. Everything else is off the table. We don't need to discuss anything else. Okay? Because there are some additions, some add-ons that are beneficial. And I don't think anybody is arguing against that point. But the fact is that you guys are making the disingenuous argument that because we lack these things that we would have if we had reparations, because we lack these things means that we don't deserve reparations. That's disingenuous. And that lets me know that you guys are just using the fact that we lack certain things, or you determine, because I don't know how you would even quantify which community is more financially literate, because we all have a different social economic history in this country, because they receive reparations and we didn't. But even if your estimation that we don't have financial literacy, or we enough of us don't have financial literacy, and we require that, and you say, okay, fine. If you honestly did believe in reparations, you would say, fine, but I also keyword also, want financial literacy. You know, because I'm sure all of us want the best for the reparations. I'm sure we all want the best. We want us to maximize the benefit of reparations. I'm sure we do. I do. I'm sure y'all do. But I'm not going to say, because in my personal opinion, I'm better with money than such and such over here, that they shouldn't get money. No, I would never say that. Now, and even if I did think that, I wouldn't say that, because that's wrong for me to say. And that lets me know that you don't really believe in reparations like that in the first place. And you're using the financial literacy argument that nobody has ever used with any other group of people, with any other circumstance ever. You're using that as a deflection to say you don't want reparations. That's why. All right. But Vicki Dillard had a response to what he had to say. And it's only fair if I play her response. So let's listen to what she had to say.
Because I knew that I didn't see that on your plan. And there are things that we agree on, certainly with the immigration, which is a big, big deal. Your service for our people, all of those things that we previously discussed. But certainly, as you mentioned before, two things. One, when you said when politicians are discussing things, they need to be doing what they're sent there to do.
That's
and
right.
An overwhelming number of your Chicagoan family want reparations. I know for a fact, because I've been there, I've talked to them. Yeah. So number one, if you're representing the people, you've got to say and do what we're telling you to do as relates to reparations, and not what you deem reparations to be, and not what the law deems reparations to be. Now, let me say this. It's understandable, and I've heard very profound people discuss the condition of reparations. I have done broadcasts criticizing even Dr. Umar Johnson for a similar position. I'm going to tell you why that is absolutely unacceptable. Legally, if I am aggressed and aggrieved in a legal matter, Nobody gets to give me any stipulations about my mental condition. They don't get to check if I'm behind on my rent. Nobody gets to ask me nothing when I'm owed legally. It doesn't matter. When you're owed something under the law, by the law, you cut the damn check. Is it important that our community talk about finances? Is it important that we're responsible so they won't turn around and put it right back into the white communities? Of course it is. But that is not the standard by law. If I were to be given $3 million today, $30 million today, and if I decided to go to the dollar store and buy $30 million worth of 99-cent candies, guess who don't get to check me? Nobody. When we're in the court of law, and somebody violates you, they run into your car, and then they turn around and tell you, well, that person got a mental illness, or the person, and they have a representative there to rep them, or that person had a pass, so I'm not going to give them this check. Or that person, I heard from their auntie that they got a bonus from their job, and they blew their money at the casino. It ain't none of their damn business.
That's
and
right.
I think that this
Absolutely.
is going to be a big part in support and momentum for the campaign, because if we're saying we're going to say what the streets are saying, what the people are saying, if we're going to rep what the people are saying, yes, advocate for educational, economic education, of course. Let that be voluntary, though. Let that be discretionary. But when it comes down to holding this white oppressive system and the United States government accountable, we sat here and talked about all the illegal folks that's coming here with God knows what, that are giving money. The Asian Pacific Island community got $50 million. Then nobody asked them nothing under the Democrat president, Democrat Senate, Democrat House of Representative. In 1 year's time, because of COVID, because they claimed they were experiencing more racism, Republican and Democrat overwhelmingly voted for them to get a crime bill. They didn't have to vote on the money. Guess what the Democrats did? They used $50 million that was already in the government and redirected it in creative ways to the Asian community. Nobody gets to tell me a damn thing about what I do with my money. All the government is supposed to do is to cut the damn check. On a local level, pastors, preachers, groups, entrepreneurs, all of them need to be saying, let's get together. Let's see how we can invest this money so that more of the money that we just got don't go out. All of that is appropriate, but nobody gets to tell us what to do with money that we are owed. And besides that, all of us ain't ignorant about how to use money. Even if it's only 5, 10, 15, 20% of the Black community that gets reparations, that's enough of us that will start businesses, make good investments, and that would be an example for other folks that don't. But don't nobody get to tell me a damn thing about what I'm doing. My ancestors that was crucified, whose penises were chopped off, whose mothers were raped and set on fire. You don't get to tell. I don't get to take no class. I don't need to know about it. I don't need to know nothing. You get to write me my check quick, fast, and in a damn hurry.
Hey, she was giving it to him, wasn't she? Can we get some fireball emojis for our good sister Vicki Dillard? I just saw her the other weekend. The beautiful sister, lovely sister, love that sister. Can we give some fireball emojis? And there's still a little bit more of the interview, okay? It's still a little bit more. I completely agree with everything. I agree with everything, okay? If there is a class that is voluntary and optional, it can be beneficial. I don't have an issue with that at all. Should it be mandatory? Absolutely not. It in the whole history of reparations in this country, a financial literacy class has never been mandatory. A mental health evaluation has never been mandatory. All of these barriers and obstacles and things we got to go through, this red tape and this pay, all of this stuff we have to go through to verify or qualify for reparations, that's never existed prior to this conversation. And we're not going to entertain and allow it to to exist now. I'm not entertaining this conversation about qualifications, about things that we need to quote unquote qualify for, that you guys have given other people reparations for stuff that they received, for grievances and problems that they received, that is minuscule, that is tiny, that is insignificant in comparison to what my people have received. And they get all of this stuff, and they don't have to go through no financial literacy course. They don't have to get no mental evaluations. They don't have to clean up their act. That's what we get told. We always got to clean up our act before we get anything, and they don't got to do none of that stuff. And they was hurt less for a smaller amount of time. Oh, we not now. You might as well get all this stuff off the table. We not entertaining that conversation. We're not entertaining that conversation. Do you understand? Another thing I want to add, is that we give these people way too much credit. Do you understand me? We give these people, and I'm not just talking about the dominant society, but all of these people, we give these people tremendous amounts of credit. But let me talk about the dominant. Do you understand how we've gone through multiple recessions? Let's talk about the housing crisis. I want to pull this up real quick. Hold on, let me get this off. Let me pull this up real quick. Just to be brief about this, because I do want to take some phone calls. I want to hear what you guys got to say, right? Okay, during the 2007-2008 housing crisis, the same housing crisis that Obama bailed them out on, but just keep this in mind. The U.S. households collectively lost an estimate of $16 trillion in net worth. Y'all, that's our reparations right there. The housing crisis that white folks caused, because it was white folks who was greedy and doing shady business practices and all of that stuff. This is the housing crisis that they caused. This is their problem. Their problem caused $16 trillion from 2007 to 2008. That's a year. That's a year. That's 1 year. $16 trillion. This includes $7 trillion loss in home equity and $11 trillion decline in stock market values. Additionally, the crisis led to the loss of millions of jobs and 8 million foreclosures, further impacting household wealth. And there's still effects of this stuff going on today. So this number, you can't even fully calculate the amount of damage that the housing crisis from 2007, 2008 has caused. My thing is this. We give these people so much credit when it comes to being financially literate. How many times did Donald Trump have to sign up for bankruptcy and all of these people? How much mistakes have these people made? Now, when we get reparations, and this is why, like I say, wording things a certain way is very important. Now, when we get reparations, they frame it as a handout. When they get handouts, they don't frame it as a handout, even though it is a handout. They frame it as an investment. It's not a handout. It's an investment in the future. Now, when we get reparations, even though it's owed to us, oh, that's a handout because y'all don't work hard and y'all don't want to do anything. Y'all just want free money from the government, even though the government wouldn't have a dime if it wasn't for us in the first place. But yeah, that's okay. That's free money from the government. Okay? We can't win for nothing if we let them frame the argument. I was saying that, I think, in my last live stream. If we go to school, even though the colleges, the universities accept us at lower rates the second we go to school, oh, that's affirmative action. You didn't earn it. You didn't earn it. You don't deserve to go to school. That's affirmative action. Okay? If we get a job, oh, you didn't deserve that job. That's DEI. Okay? If we get reparations, oh, you didn't deserve the reparations. That's affirmative action. I mean, that's a handout. Okay? Now, when they go to school, that's because they earn it. Okay? When they get a job, that's because of merit. That's because they deserve it. When they receive reparations or a handout, well, that's an investment. You know, Charlie Kirk, the one who goes against reparations, he got a huge handout in his startup because he was a college dropout, but that was an investment. Don't you understand? It wasn't a handout, it was an investment. That's what it was. Donald Trump getting that money was an investment. It's not a handout at all. It was an investment. But for you, it's a handout. That's where we draw the line between an investment and a handout. Okay, we're doing a paper bag test, and if your skin doesn't pass the paper bag test, if it's too dark, it's a handout. If it's white enough, it's an investment. That's how we determine what's a handout and what's not a handout. And we got black folk who go along with that narrative, okay, who co-sign that narrative. These people are not geniuses. These people have crashed this economy several times, have made disastrous business decisions. These people, and every single time, here comes the government to give them a handout and to bail them out, and nobody says anything. They don't have to pay the government back. Nobody argues about my taxes going up. Nobody makes that argument. Nobody makes the argument that big business constantly gets handed out. Oh, nobody makes that argument. The richest people you can see right here, handout. Elon Musk, handout. Donald Trump, handout. Mark Zuckerberg, handout. Bill Gates, handout. Jeff Bezos, handout. All of these people. Not only with the money, even when they started, there's little loopholes and laws they get to break to kind of inch ahead. Nobody says nothing. But we deserve something, and then it's all like, oh, y'all want a handout. No. I'm going to let the interview finish, and then I'm going to continue with my commentary afterwards. Hold on.
So
I absolutely agree with everything you said. That's why I preface it like what I don't believe. And I don't believe in it because I believe that I should take what's mine. See, that's the difference. I don't have 80 million black people that's gonna believe like that. That's not afraid, that we're coward. We asking the government, the devil, the enemy, to give us what's due to us. When in fact, if we take it and shut down America, it's coming to us anyway. You asking them to be benevolent to us, to do what they supposed to do to us, when we don't even have the doggone balls enough to stand as 100,000 strong and go to the Capitol and even demand it. So now, in that sense, I'm always for them giving my people what's due. I'm only saying that in the effort, we will be still waiting because you don't have enough Tyrone Muhammad's in Senate. That's gonna also, that's me, that would be my argument. Yeah. Thus said my people said they want their money now. And we asking based on this, and the third, you need to deliver. Now we can do it another way. If you're not gonna deliver it in a legal way, we got to figure out how we're going to take it from your ass. So either way, if you're going to get it, you can't have no one approach towards getting no money and getting no... because if I was in the streets, my hustle got to be, okay, I got the powder and the rock. Also, I got some weed too. So there's many ways to go get this money. White folks fear the term reparations because reparation brings with it, in their mind, like you said, no real context. And as long as white folks permeates the Senate, the House, we will never see it. Maybe not even in our lifetime. But I know what we can see. I know what we...
Now, before we get into that, let me say that. Let me go back, y'all. Let me go back. Okay. It seems like to me, he backtracking a little bit. To me, it seemed like he backtracking a little bit because earlier he wasn't on that page of, well, yeah, we can get it, but we shouldn't be going about it one way. You said that it was something that we would waste. It would be one thing if you were arguing about, yeah, I'm not saying we should ask, we should demand it. No, the way you were speaking about it, we shouldn't receive it at all. And then when Vicki was getting on your bumper about it, now you all like, well, no, I was really trying to say it. We should go about it a different way. Seems like you backtracking a little bit, sir. That seems like that to me. That's what I pick up. That's what I pick up. Is you kind of trying to walk your way back a little bit on that about us going. First off, you kind of word salading. Okay, you kind of all over the place right now. Just be honest. All of you hear, you all over the place, sir. But from what I can ascertain, you are backtracking. Because earlier, you were making it abundantly clear. Nobody's taking your things out of context. Nobody's misunderstanding your stance. You are making it abundantly clear that for multiple reasons that you feel like we shouldn't get reparations. You felt like we shouldn't be asking them to give us their money. You felt like we weren't financially literate enough. You felt like we weren't damn near worthy enough. You said we would be, quote unquote, in his words, black tyrants with the money. Okay? So now you're talking about, oh yeah, I just don't think we should just be asking. We should be demanding. We should be, we wouldn't get it with white folks. Okay, well, there's really I can't think of a white politician that champions reparations, and I agree. However, with politicians like you are making an argument against reparations, so what's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference if a white politician says no to reparations versus if a black politician says no? As a matter of fact, it's a little bit worse when a black politician says no to reparations. It's actually worse. It hurts more. It's worse off then. Okay? What's the difference? Okay? So yeah, I'm gonna let it play. It's only a little bit more, but I was picking up a little bit of like, nah, that's not what your original stance was. You kind of walking that back a little bit.
Go ahead.
We don't see, cause you talking policy. It has to be policies that makes them do that. And each city is separate. Each state has a separate constitution. So a mostly Republican state with 1 million black people won't ever see reparation unless we make it a federal movement to make it an executive order. But only way that's gonna happen, Sister Vicki, is we got an army. And and I'm telling you, I'm being very optimistic about it.
Okay.
I know this white devil.
The thing is the language. What I mean by that is, I know you mentioned, and I put up here what my brother said. We don't care what you call it, just cut the check. That's right. But we have to simplify it and make sure that our narratives are not giving them an excuse not to give us a damn check. And so when we say stuff, we're mentally ill, we need to learn economics and all that bull. In my opinion, that's giving them an excuse to further delay what rightfully belongs to us, and I'm just not with that.
And I agree. Okay, I agree. Now, I'm gonna say this: he's running for Senate in Illinois. Okay, his opinion of reparations, let's say, might have changed. He might have did a whole 180. About reparations. Might have changed. Let me give you my personal stance on it. When somebody comes out about reparations and they say things kind of like, well, we'll see if they're running for, because at this point, there's nobody, especially in the political field, who's ignorant to the degree where they don't know about reparations. And when they say things like, we'll see, well, I gotta check, where's the money coming from? That's you kind of dodging. When you come out the gate with 10 toes down on some, nah, I don't think so. That's it. That's all I need to hear. Yeah, that's all I need to hear. That's the same thing Kamala did. Oh, what am I gonna do for black people? Not like what she said. I'm not gonna do anything for black people. No, remember she said that. Oh, okay, well that's all I need to hear then. Because when you make that stance, when you 10 toes down on a no, it's a no. It's an absolute no. No, I don't think we should get reparations. We're not financially literate enough. We're not worthy enough. Okay, we would give the money back. We shouldn't even be asking them for a handout or our oppressors or whatever thing he just said about that for a handout. That lets me know your stance. And even if you do try to walk that back and do a completely 180 and now you champion reparations, and I'm speaking for myself, I can't trust that you're going to stick to the stance of being pro reparations once you get in office. If you're this opposed to it, even if, because here's the thing, there's a lot of people who support reparations, but that's not their biggest thing on their platform. Okay? Even though I would be all like, okay, well, kind of that's where the movement is. So I would think that that's something that you would voice very strong opinions about. You would definitely make a lot of noise about. But if you don't, and if here or there you just said I support it 100%, but that's not my main focus, okay, all right, I guess. But when you say no, that's another thing. If you said that, then if you said A, well, I support it, but I'm more focused on education or other things or health or whatever the other thing may be. Okay, then we can talk about it. We can work with you about it. When you come up to with a stance and you say, nah, I ain't going. Oh, there's nothing to talk about there. Oh, okay, sir. Well, this seems like there's nothing to talk about at that point. That's how I see it. Because now when you get in all, even if you do say, okay, now I'm losing support, I'm losing votes. Oh, well, I meant I was really for reparations. That's really what I meant. I said the wrong word. I meant to say yes when I said no. I don't know. Sometimes my no sound like the yes. I don't know. Sometimes I didn't have coffee that morning. So, but I mean, yes, reparations. Yes. Okay, you say that. And then when you get in office, then what are we going to do? This is very serious. What we're doing is very serious. We got to take your word for it. The first thing that you say when we talk about reparations, we got to take your word for that. Okay? And even if you say yes, we don't need one yes, and then the rest of the answers are kind of like a on the fence maybe. We need a consistent amount of yeses your entire campaign. From your start better be a yes, and all the way through better be a yes. It better be a yes, and it better be just as strong and as potent and boisterous as the first yes from the beginning. That's how I feel about it, okay? And the closer you get to it, if I feel like your yes is starting to go from uppercase yes to a lowercase yes, it's starting to go from a yes, a Y-E-S, to a yeah, a Y-E-A. I'm like, oh, what do you mean, yeah? I thought you said yes. Why are you saying yeah? I don't know. Like, if it's starting to go from that, then I'm like, I don't know. If I'm starting to see you getting cold feet about it, I'm going to start pulling back. You get cold feet, I get cold feet. That's how I roll. Okay? If you all in, I'm all in. You get cold feet, I get cold feet. That's how it's got to be. All right? But that's when you say yes up until you start off the gate with a no. Oh, you crashed on arrival, buddy. You crashed on arrival. Oh, you didn't even really make it out. No, that's it. No, there ain't no takeoff. Ain't no takeoff. It's a malfunction. You never get off the earth. You talking about making it to the moon? The rocket fuel never took off. That's how it's got to be. But that's just me. That's just me about it. That's how I feel about it. But family, what I need to know is how y'all feel about it. That's what I need to know. And I do want y'all opinion on this situation. And it's the first of the month. And I think that we should start things off the right way. So I'm going to open up the phone lines for a little bit. Not too long. Not too long. But for a little bit, we're going to be doing that. Hold on. And I'm going to be getting y'all opinion on that situation. And see what y'all got to say. Because how many times have we seen somebody take a strong stance and then when they get in office, they be all like, well, there was nothing I can do. We don't need that no more. Because if you're not going to stand on it before, I know you're not going to stand on it when you get in office. I know you're not going to stand on it when in office. Or at least I can't trust that you will. And that's my problem. I couldn't trust that you would do that. The number to call in is 949-381-0044. That is 949-381-0044. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think that black folk, foundational black Americans, are too financially illiterate for reparations? Do y'all think that we need financial literacy before? Do y'all view reparations as a handout? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Because I got to get the family's take on the situation. Well, I got to know. I got to figure that out. Hold on. Let me see. Make sure my audio is correct. Make sure my audio is there. Hold on. Switch that. Okay. Switching that up. And let me say another. Let me just focus on another thing real quick. Focus on another thing. When you look at this stuff, and when you look at Black Wall Street and how that got burned down and all of this, if the goal is to reclaim what we had, is to go back to what we had, if that's the true goal, to go back to what we had, then we need control of the resources. That means we don't need housing assistance. We're not in this situation because we need housing assistance or school assistance and all of that stuff. What we need is control and ownership. That's what they have taken away from us. They've taken that away from us our entire existence here. And if we really want that back, that's what we need. Okay? And to be honest, if anybody says no to reparations, I kind of question if they want that. Because how else would you argue we should get that then? I don't see anybody else making any other real plans about that outside of reparations. Okay? I see you guys I see certain people trying to create small little temporary remedies for some of the symptoms, but I don't see them trying to develop a cure. See, what we are about is developing a cure to the disease, not some relief to the symptoms. When I see you trying to dodge reparations, or that's the line that you don't really want to cross for whatever the reason is, but you're okay with black businesses, or you're okay with schools, or whatever the case, you're okay with small little things in comparison to the big picture. To me, that means that you're okay with curing up or lessening some of the symptoms, but you're not really for the cure of the disease. That's how I see that. Now, we do got some people on the line. I don't want to get to y'all. Let's get caller from area code 951. You're on live. What's your name and where you calling from?
Black Power out of Houston right now. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Favorite. Yeah, brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. At the end of the day, it is exactly what you said. If you don't start off with the reparations talking point, I can't trust you. Period. There's no other way to look at it. There's no other way to go about it, because this is what happens a lot, right? This doesn't just happen with Vicki. This happens with a lot of us who talk to people about reparations. When you speak to them, a lot of the time, they'll sit here and say the same damn nonsense. Oh, you guys aren't going to do nothing but spend it on this and spend it on that. And I tell them all the time, what does it matter what I spend it on? It's my money. I don't walk into your house and tell you, oh, you bought a TV with your money? What you do? You shouldn't have no money if you out here buying TV. You get what I'm saying? It's a ridiculous argument. And it's only when you're speaking about foundational Black Americans that you see people coming with all types of ridiculous arguments. And the major ridiculous argument is that we're not going to be able to do nothing with it but buy Rams and all this other nonsense. Because when you look at the history of foundational Black Americans, that has never been a situation where we had a majority amount of people with a lot of money. So when you look at all the cities that was either, I don't want to say that word because I don't want to get your show flag, your broadcast flag, excuse me, have been boom shakalaka, right? Put underwater, eminent domains. These were predominant cities. When you look at a place like, let's talk about LAX, the airport in Los Angeles. They bulldozed a predominantly black neighborhood that was doing just fine. It was immaculate, as a matter of fact. Same thing with Tulsa, Oklahoma. Same thing with Central Park, and it's same thing with Oscarville. You get what I'm saying? It's just really ridiculous that these people would even bring up the factor of not being able to be financially literate when all the history shows the opposite. You get what I'm saying? So I feel exactly what you were talking about tonight on this notion. If it is not at the beginning of your campaign, shut it down. If I don't hear you talking about reparations at the beginning of your campaign, and then all of a sudden when you're called out, all of a sudden, well, I think we need to do it a different way, yada, yada, yada. No. You're done. You're done here. And with that, I'll land, family. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I agree 100%. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I agree 100%. Yep. If you start right, you finish right, I support it. Okay. I'm not supporting you if you starting right and then it seemed like, okay, you want some donation money from outside of the community, which is really a lot of them go for big donations and donors outside of the community, and they don't like reparations, so you got to be hush hush about reparations. We not going for the spook who sat by the door game anymore. All of that, well, y'all, I can't say it out loud, but wink, wink, when I get in there, though, we heard that with Obama, didn't we? The whole wink, wink, I can't say it, but you already know I got you when I get in. No, we don't trust that. We don't trust that. You better be loud and bold. Say it with your chest the whole way through. Ain't no more wink, wink, I'll get you when I get in there, no. Caller from area code 804, you're on live. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Brandon Dumont. I was in the chat earlier, and I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia. Can you hear me, my brother?
I hear you, brother.
Okay, yes. I was the one that was in the chat earlier, and I'm a foundational Black American. I can trace my heritage so far all the way back to the 1833 with Ada Dumont. So my last name is still strong.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to reparations, it is a debt that's deserved, that is owed, that is due. That is no question. Now, this is my point when I was in the chat, that I'm just trying to look at the lens as different when there's just money.
Okay.
As a society, we don't have nothing. We don't have no airlines. We don't have no airports. We don't have nothing that can actually bring in financial stability. What we do have that bring in financial stability, they use it and take from us. If it's the rap industry, if it's movies or TV, they take from us. So what I'm saying about reparations is, yes, it's a debt that's owed, it's money, but we need to get back to the fundamentals of what it really truly was 40 acres and a mule. Now, 40 acres and a mule, and I know just off 1 acre of land, you could make $1.8 million off lavender. That's 1 acre. Mm-hmm. We, as FBA, that's in our bloodline, have been the cultivator of this land for hundreds of years, and we have got away from our fundamentals. If we get back to our fundamentals, FBA can take over the world when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to fertilizer. And what I mean by that, it takes land sovereignty, airports, railroads, imports, exports. Not only that, like right now, I'm trying to get FBA in the BRICS. I'm talking to other people and telling them what we got going on, and I'm trying to get FBA in the BRICS to get away from this dollar, because this dollar ain't backed by no gold. That BRICS backed by gold. When you backed by gold, you can run the country. Well, country. So what I mean is, my brother, when we're just dealing with money and we don't have land and sovereignty, guess what? We still around these race soldiers. And these race soldiers saying, oh, FBA got all this money. If you think they ain't going to turn up on us, if we still got the local government over us, because that's why we're being killed. We're not being killed by federal officers. We're being killed by local officers. If we had land and sovereignty like that $5 Indian, then we control our neighborhoods. We can control the policing within our neighborhood. And anybody that comes within those neighborhoods, we own them like white on white. But until we as a community look at the bigger picture and not just money, literally, I can wipe my ass with that. That's toilet paper. It's not backed by nothing. We need economic stability and empowerment. Yes, money must come with it. We can't ask everything that I'm talking about with land and all this if we can't have money. That's just idiotic. But money should not be the quote unquote forefront. It should be about, yes, we need this money so we can do this, that, and the third. And I want to know your opinion on it, my brother.
Okay, let me just get your stance, because I think I know exactly what you're saying, but I don't want to misquote you, and I want to get your stance clear, especially for the chat room. You're not saying that we shouldn't get cash, but you're saying that we should view additional things as just as important or more important than cash, right?
Exactly, because what I'm saying is, you was absolutely correct. Because of money, yes, we get the money, but we take the money. If they got, if we got to go get lumber, if we got to go get light fixtures, if we got to go get this, that, and the third, all the quote unquote money that they gave us goes right back within their community. Right back in their community. So what we're going to do, not saying that we're not going to come up individually with reparations, yes, but what I'm talking about is a group economic building block where not just, we're getting money, because it's really, people don't understand, the money that they're giving us is really just ones and zeros. It's not nothing. It's all digital. It's just going to jump in your bank account, bam. It's ones and zeros. It don't actually have nothing that's backing it. What I'm saying is take the ones and zeros that's not backing with nothing and create something with the ones and zeros.
Okay. All right. Well, I will say this. All of that, and I agree, all of that stuff is necessary. I feel like the reason why people make the argument for the cash payments is because, and this is me, is because people don't want to enter into the slippery slope if we start to substitute or belittle the importance of the actual dollar, of the money. Now, this is the same money that they gave illegal immigrants. This is the same money that they give when it comes to aid, whether that's Israel, Ukraine, whatever the case may be. This is the same money. So if we start to belittle that, and then if we say, okay, well, we can substitute that with something else, that will allow them to have a little bit more control over the opportunities and the access and the the freedom that we have to make the choices with the access that we want to. Because if we say land, then and we don't specify, okay, which land, and we let them pick the land or whatever, and then we don't have the resources to cultivate the land the way we want to, for instance, Bruce's Beach and other things like that, then it'll ultimately go back in their hands. So it does have to be, and this is something that I think we've all made the argument with years, it does have to be a package. I feel like for me,
Exactly.
when we stress the cash, I think we're stressing that because that's the heartbeat that they don't want to give. Because if they give other things, for instance, just like Bruce's Beach, without the cash, then they know, okay, well, you can't sustain this. You can't hold on to this without the money that you would need to. You couldn't hold on to it anyway. So they could give you free education, land, all of this stuff. If they don't give you the cash, you're not going to be able to hold on to it. You know, so that's why I feel like we make the argument for cash, because that's the main thing that they don't want to give you. And if they give you anything else, then it's a slippery slope downhill that will not change the status quo. I agree, though, brother. I fully agree. You know, with the money, because reparations really does mean to repair the damage that is done. To repair the damage that is done, you're going to need additional things to open up for black people: the access to capital, reallocation of land, reallocation of property, all of these things. Even if you do want to have the conversation of financial literacy, you are going to need to have that stuff if you want to make an honest repair of the damage that has been done. So I think we can have that conversation. I don't want the chat to feel like we're belittling the importance of the cash, because I say without the cash, then there's no conversation. You know, that's how I feel about it, because that's going to determine our ownership and control of it.
Absolutely, my brother. And I don't want the chat to listen to my dialogue and think it's not about the cash. Because you got to have the cash to make things work. It's all about the money. But what I'm saying is, when we get the money, we need institutions to make the money work.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
That's all I'm saying, my brother. I'm not just saying let's get the money, but what I'm saying is, this is my main, what I'm trying to get black Americans to truly understand. And I know a lot of my black Americans ain't really gotten to geopolitics yet. I know they ain't got there yet with the geopolitics, but the multipolar world is here. And BRICS is going to shine. So what I'm saying is, it's going to be a lot of countries that love FBA culture. And it's time for FBA to start getting our worth, start doing our things, and start having to depend on them. For an example, FBA still really ain't got no car line. All these cars that we can build, we ain't got one. Where are black Mercedes at? Where are black Sprint? What do we have economically? Nothing. So what I'm saying is, yes, we need the money, but we need these other aspects that need to be put in place. So once we get the money, we can continuously flip the money and create them 100, 200, 300 years general wealth. But I'm gonna let everybody get back to the chat. I appreciate you for taking my call, my brother. But I just wanted to just say my 2 cents.
No, yeah. And thank you for your call, brother. Thank you for your call.
You as well, my brother.
Thank you. I mean, of course, we would need to put our money into something, right? You're not going to put $1 in your pocket and come out with $2. You would need to put your money into something that would create more money. So, of course. So, shout out to you, Brian. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to get to our next caller. But I'm not going to I'm not gonna belittle the aspect of the check. I'm not to say he was doing that, but I just don't want there to be any confusion of that. You know. Caller from area code 205. You're on live. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Rico, and I'm calling from Birmingham, Alabama.
What's on your mind, brother?
Yes, sir. Definitely want to say thank you for what you're doing. Great representation. I would like to say that when it comes to the point of us having financial literacy, I think it is important. But I think one of the most important thing about it is that we have to be the ones that are in control of that education and the narrative that comes with that form of financial literacy, only when it's focused towards pushing the betterment for the FBA, African American community, to make sure that we are in a position to where we used to be. Also, because back in the days, there was an actual goal, and now we've had to admit this is America, and probably about 85% of Americans are financially illiterate when it comes to controlling and holding on to money and using it for the betterment. So I think that we have to come up with a system, kind of like the way the Jewish community does with their synagogues. Like they teach financial literacy to their kids when they're in like middle school. So it's a must. And there's also a code, to quote Dr. Neely Fuller, there's a code attached to that. And to the brother's point earlier, the one that just spoke, it is important that we have to control some form of industry. It's important that we have to get involved in geopolitics, how we can reach across the ocean and grab somebody else's hand and say, hey, let's work together. I give a prime example. There's a Caucasian man. He had out of Wisconsin. He has a farm, a dairy farm. He connected with a gentleman out of Ghana who has a cocoa plant. Now they're producing chocolate. America, which is one of the largest consumers of chocolate goods, they're moving forward with that. I think when we do get reparations, we need to try to jump into those pools. And I think within our financial literacy, that should be a part of it. And I really appreciate what you're doing. I land my plane. Thank you.
Appreciate you. And like I said, and I think I've said this on another live stream, I feel like we really underestimate our value when it comes to the world and when it comes to the amount of power we should have and can have. I have no issue at all with us taking courses or classes, whatever the case is, with financial literacy. I have none whatsoever. I have none with us in even the conversation of geopolitics. We can get into that at a certain point in time, but before we get into geopolitics at a certain point in time, and I don't think he's trying to rush it, but before we get into that, I would like for us to really establish a strong rooted economic foundation here, and then we should have the conversation of geopolitics. Do you think that these billionaires and everything like that, these people have investments all over the world? And when it comes to geopolitics, do you understand that our culture, foundational Black Americans, have enriched other people from across the world? That's our money. Our money, I want us to understand this. Our money is not just in America. Our money is all over the world. If we're going to be honest with you, the whole world owes us a check, and the whole world exploits our culture. We make things pop for our culture. In America, America's the biggest consumer. We make things popular for consumption that other people make. That makes them money. That makes America money. Our culture, our music, our fashion, all of that stuff. And this is because our culture is just that popping. And that's fine. But if it's just that popping, we should be at the forefront of making money off of that then. So we should have that conversation. Then I'm not saying that conversation is gonna come tomorrow or gonna come next year, but yeah, that conversation definitely does need to come because somebody gonna make money off of it, and if somebody gonna make money off of it, it needs to be us. I fully agree with that. It does need to be us. I'm not, but I don't think he's saying. I don't think he's saying this, but I am gonna say, as far as the financial literacy, that's not going to be a requirement. I just wanted to be clear because I don't want anybody to be confused in the chat room. That's not a requirement to reparations. It is something that if somebody wants to, if it's an option, if they want to take it, that's good. But it's not at all a requirement. You know? But I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me get to caller from area code 267. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Afro, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hello? You hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I hear you.
Curtis from Philadelphia.
Curtis, what's on your mind, brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to talk about, like I said, the brothers have some good points there. But the thing is, for me, give me the money. Like I said again, I'm 64 years old, and I still got dreams and visions and stuff like that. Give me the money and everything else. I wouldn't mind owning a diamond mine. I wouldn't mind owning a gold mine. Give me the money, and I feel that we should invest into America and build up our global power here, because everything starts here in the United States. Give me the money, and I would like to own a water factory that everybody needs. I would like to own, a blood plasma that everybody needs. I would like to own a hospital that everybody needs. Give me the money, and I will find the right people to invest into America. And then all these foreigners that come in here in our neighborhood, I will buy them out. That's what I would do. I would invest into America first. Once you invest into America, America will become more than what it is now, because at every turn we've been sabotaged. We got young people like you got young people like Tariq right there that are smart business people. And I don't like people that try to tell like we ignorant or something like that. We don't know how to spend our money and save our money. All three of my kids are successful, because you know why? I taught them how to be successful, how to wear suits and ties. I don't like nobody coming on your platform trying to tell us that we are ignorant and we ain't got no kind of responsibility. First, you got to make the money, like Montana and Scarface. You make the money first, then you get the power. I would like to invest into America. I would like to buy these water companies. I would like to buy these electric companies. I would like to buy the gas companies like that in America. But at every corner, we as black people, FBA, we are being sabotaged. And these people know that this is why they don't want to give us the money, because they know we're going to outdo them. We know that. But we still go through adversity. I love adversity, because what adversity does, it makes us stronger. We're not no weak people. We're not. Like you just said, man, we got inventions that people making money around the world. So I don't like when people come and say, we like that guy that was talking to our sister Vicki, talking about we're going to spend and buy a Cadillac. So what? It's America. Let the money go back into America. It starts charity starts at home, and then once we get our money and we build our communities, we build our relationships between a man and a woman, marriage, school, education, economically, we will run this world. It starts here. The world comes later. Our ancestors died for us to have education and opportunities and stuff like this. Bricks is good, but how can you trust a bunch of people that's new, that that's known for con artists. We don't need no con artists. We got enough con artists here. Charity starts at here. And I have a dream and I have a vision. I would love to own an electric company, control all the electric. I would love to own a water company, controlling all the water. And if you don't pay your water bill, they will cut you off. That's true power. And I would love to give out free water, free electric to people and stuff like that, because it's supposed to be free anyway. You know, I don't like when people try to, like we stupid. And even the Bible says that knowledge should increase. Look how smart you is, Black Alpha. Look how smart. Afro, look how smart you is, bro. Don't let anybody come up here on your show and tell you how smart you is, bro. You be saying things, I be saying, wow. Man, you be blowing my mind, man. You, Vicki, Dillard, Tyreek, all of y'all, man, y'all is very intelligent on my list, brother.
Thank
you. For real. So don't let nobody come up here on your show, man, try to belittle you, talking about, oh, we don't need the body. No, let the money stay here. Let the money stay here, and then give us the money first, and we will build our own people up. That's what it's all about. It's not about over in Africa and all that. No, let the money come here. Give us what we owe. We are owed through our ancestors' blood. They died. Ain't nobody can't tell me about, oh, man, what you gonna do with your money? So what am I gonna do with my money? It's my money. It's my money. I want to invest into America, and also I want to invest into what? Our children, because the children is the future. We got people teaching our kids, stupid stuff like that. No. We should teach our own children. We can hire our own teachers and stuff like that and pay them good money to teach our kids. Because I feel those teachers should be getting more money than these athletes and stuff like that. And like I said, man, the money here, man, give us our money now, man. Because like I said, I got dreams, you understand, that we can own this. But they, like I said, they want to give it to everybody else because they know without a shadow of a doubt, Afro Lee, that we will rise and we will overtake them. I don't let no people coming to me telling me, great is he that's in me, and he that's in the world. I got God in me, brother. You got God in you, man. You made to be victory. You are victory, man. You are victory. You are a conqueror, brother. You hear me, Afro Lee? You are a conqueror, brother. You understand? Look at Vicki Dillard came back strong. I was screaming. My wife's got a prayer, bro. I said, excuse me, honey. When I heard Vicki come back, because first of all, he's a whistleblower. The brother Vicki Dillard was talking to, when he was doing, man, he was whistling to the elite. Listen, I don't believe in reparations. I read him from the beginning. He's nothing but a whistleblower. He ain't down with us, man. He's a traitor. Any person, man, that's not for us, man, they are against us. They're traitors. And we going to get rid of them, too. Because, like I said, get the money, get the power, and once we start finding out, rooting all these people out, man, that was never for us, we got to root them out, man. We ain't got to do nothing. We just cast them out to the side, because I don't believe in the murder or that kind of stuff that's coming to my family. But make a long story short, once we get the money, get the power, we will start seeing who is for us, and we will start seeing who's against us. Because we got a lot of enemies, brother, that don't want us, your children, your children, your family. They don't want to see us successful, brother. They don't want to see us. But God got greater pleasure because the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous, brother. And you are a righteous brother, man.
Thank you, brother.
That's all I have to say. Sorry to I get mad when people come over here, man. Come on your channel, man. Try to tell us what we should invest in. No, charity starts at home. Charity starts in the United States. Our blood is written all over this land. Written all over this land with our ancestors, man. No. Like I told you before, my father's father was in World War I. My father was in World War II. My oldest brother was in Vietnam War. I dare somebody come and tell me what I should do with my money. With my family and your family and Vicki Dillard's family and Black Alpha family, our family laid blood for everybody else to have what they had. It wasn't for our people, none of these people had not had nothing. Even the Europeans. That's why I don't play that, man. When it come down, try to tell me who I am as a black man and as a Native American, Indian man. No, I've been knowing that ever since 1968. Now, my mother and father told me who I was. So are you, man. You got blood on this land, brother, and that blood is righteous blood, man. So okay, Afro, man, I don't want to hold you up, man.
I appreciate you.
Man.
Thank you, brother.
No, man, don't ever nobody. Like I said, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like I said, I can't wait till you come to Philadelphia, brother, for you meet my wife, man. Meet my wife, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, I love what y'all doing, man. I'm telling you, man. I thank God that I found your station, man, and Vicki and Phil and all. I listen to all of you, man. Matter of fact, I get mad when y'all, like when your station don't act up sometimes, I get mad, you know, because I know y'all gonna talk some good stuff, man. So like I said, God bless you, brother, man, and keep up the good work, okay, man?
You too. Be blessed, brother.
Sorry for getting hyped, man. Sorry for getting hyped, man.
You're good. You don't have to apologize.
Okay.
Right. Now, before we take the next call, let me say something. And shout out to our brother Curtis, regular caller. I'm going to say, if you guys notice, I'm not telling nobody what to do with their money. That's not my right. It's not my place to tell anybody what to do with their money. And I have enough knowledge to see the wisdom in somebody wanting to do something over here, somebody wanting to do something over here. If you want to do something right here, that's fine. If you want to do something over there, that's fine. I can see how that can work. I can see how that can work. I can see how investing here can work. I can see how starting a little international thing, as long as you running it, I can see how that can work. As long as, look, as long as we get what's owed to us, what you do, I can't tell you what's what you can do. That's not my right. Now, the thing I would recommend is that, like I say, let's get a strong, deep-rooted base here first with the money before all of this stuff, because too often what I've heard is people, and I'm not saying any of the callers have, but for future references, for people who might be listening on the playback, we kind of, if we're playing Monopoly, you go step by step, like point by point, and we thinking of point 10 and we ain't on point 6 right now. Okay, let's kind of like cross the bridges when we come to it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we think, and it's good to be a forward thinking people, but sometimes we can think too forward ahead, and that can cause us to lose the attention on the next step. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you want to spend your money over here, if you want to spend your money in here, you want to buy this, you want to buy that, you want to invest, I think that all of that should be done. I think we should do all of it. But all I'm saying is that I hope we can agree that we need a strong, deep-rooted economic foundation here prior to expansion. Okay? I hope we can all agree on that. That's like if you're able to bench, let's say 100 pounds, you're not going to be able to max out 100 pounds and then maybe say, okay, well, now let me put 200 pounds on that. Okay, you're not ready for that step. Okay, now you need to gradually get your weight up, and then you can start reaching the 200 pounds, 250, 300, so on and so forth. But let's get this base first. Make sure we're doing things with the proper form first before we start max loading on weight here, okay? Because and I'm not saying any of the callers have done that, but I'm just saying forward-thinking people. I want to keep this in mind. I want you to keep that in mind. All right. I don't want to be too long because we have other callers here. So let me get to the next caller. Caller from area code 601. You're on live. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hey, what's going on, man? This brother said from the South, Alabama, Mississippi. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. What's on your mind?
Look, man, America got the money to give reparations. They know it. They just don't want to do it, and we all know that. If you look at the defense spending, how much we spend on defense is astronomical. We spend trillions throughout the past decade, for maintaining bases all over the world, staying in other people's lands and involving in conflicts, that money right there could be spent on us here in America, improving the quality of our lives. So they got the money. They just don't want to do it.
They do.
I like what you're doing, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, brother. They do. They have the money, and they've always made that argument that, you know, America's financially broke and all that stuff, and I'm not gonna even make the argument that they're not. You not broke enough not to pay me my money. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that America's not in debt. I'm not saying that America doesn't have people to pay back. All I'm saying is I better be one of the people that you also need to pay back to. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Because it seems like you guys always claim poverty when it comes to uplifting our community and putting resources in our community, even though y'all the ones who took it out in the first place. Y'all the ones who won't let us grow it in the first place. Every time we start it up, y'all come and try to sabotage it in the first place. It would be fine if y'all would have left it alone. But it seems like every time we say, okay, where's the resources for our community? Y'all be all like, man, we just ain't got it like that. Okay, well, we just had millions of people illegally enter into the country, and y'all had all of the money y'all needed for them. It seems like when it comes to the stuff y'all want to spend money on, y'all got all of the money in the world. But when it comes to our reparations, then it's, I don't know where we gonna get all this money from. We gonna be broke. We gonna be all of this, and it's gonna be bankruptcy. It's gonna be, destroy America if we get, then let America fall if that's the case, which it won't. But if you want to say that, I guess we all doomed. So yeah, I agree. They always claim poverty when it comes to us. But thank you for your call, brother. Yeah, they always claim poverty, but that's not stopping nothing. Caller from area code 206. You're on live. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Seattle. My name is Marquez.
What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah. Afro lead. I was prompted to call from that last caller. It was like 4 callers ago. He was talking about how the dollar needs to be on the gold standard and all of this stuff, and I was just saying, nah. The dollar is a fiat currency. It's backed by United States might. They don't have enough gold to back the amount of money that's in circulation, so they don't need to be on no gold standard. That's why they got rid of it. So our dollar is backed by the might of America and the military. So as long as the military is powerful, the dollar is going to be powerful because we're an imperial country. So don't even worry about it not going nowhere. As long as America got bases around the world, the dollar's going to be all right. Secondly, reason why they don't want to give us reparations is because they know we're going to do good things about it. That narrative that we don't know what to do with the money, we're illiterate and all that stuff, that's bull crap. That's the reason why they do not want to give us that money. Because look, when in the 80s when Freeway Rick was doing his thing, he wasn't illiterate. He established the underground economy. And that's the thing. They know that a lot of us is gonna pull our money, our resources together and do good things with that money. They don't want us building skyscrapers like they do, townships, brick and mortar businesses. They understand, and they will have to come. And another thing, before I go any further, don't forget, everybody, that we still live in America. America is still got white supremacy in it. They're not just going to open up doors for you just because you got money. They're going to close them doors. They're going to bolt those doors. So be careful if they do bump their head and give us reparations. They're gonna squeeze the vice even more. It's gonna get very tight. And you might have people that's going to accept your money and all of that stuff, but then there's going to be some pushback and some roadblocks. It's going to get very heavy because the start of America and in their DNA, they've never wanted us to have any resources. That's the whole premises of white supremacy, is to keep us destituted, to keep us economically poor. That's the reason why they can abuse us and take advantage of us. Now, if they do give us money, yeah, we'll have a little leeway, and yeah, we can probably move. We can move around finally. We can travel. We can do all kind of things, and just that sight of us doing all these things really it bothers white supremacy, because that means you're affluent. You be able to do the things that they can do, and they don't want to have it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the biggest things. When they see you having something, it messes them up bad. And there's a lot of them that are poor and destitute too, and they're gonna feel some kind of way about that. They don't want a whole bunch of FBAs having money over them. That's the whole purpose of this system, is to keep you underneath them. So what I'm saying is, yeah, you got to be careful of yeah, I know a lot of people love America and all of that, but you got to understand, you still got these roadblocks, and you got the laws also. You got eminent domain. You got all kind of stuff that you're gonna have to be aware of, that they can implement, because a lot of these laws they don't even use. But as soon as they give you any money, oh yeah, they're gonna be using all kind of laws to disrupt you.
Brother, as
all
soon
kind
as
of
we get
things.
reparations, they gonna dust off old books. They gonna get to the library. They gonna dust the books off. Be all like, no, there was a law in 1892 that says that you can't do that, so we can take it away from. We're gonna see things we've never seen before as far as sabotage is concerned.
I bet you they were, because that's the reason why they uncredited laws is basically for us. And yeah, they don't want us to go into their places. They definitely don't want us to go overseas and try to invest over there in Africa. They want to keep them destitute and third worldish. So it's a combination of a whole lot of things that they don't want us to do and apply. Yeah, a lot of us will waste the money, of course. But then again, there's a lot of us who are going to say, hey, we want to pull our resources together, and we want to build, and we want to compound this money. We want to invest the money. We want to buy Bitcoin. We want to do all kind of things. And that right there is going to be hard for them to even fathom, because, yeah, like I said, that's why they keep us destitute. But I'm going to land my plane after that. Get you some more callers on there. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Appreciate you. Like I said, the fight is not going to be over after we get reparations. And I hope
definitely
everybody
not.
understands that. It's not going to be, it's still an uphill battle. The reparations is going to be a necessary step to the next step. Okay? The game ain't over. It's not game over after reparations. It's just, okay, now it's time to move on to the next step. We got the reparations we needed for it. That's good. Now we can move on to the next step. That's what reparations is.
Oh, yeah. The white supremacy won't disappear just because they give you some money, and they're very hesitant to give you any money because they know that's power. It means you're going to have control of your destiny, and that's one reason why they don't want to give you no money, because they got control of your destiny. They want to be in control. That's the whole premises of white supremacy.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, brother.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Have a good one.
You too, brother.
All righty.
Also, like I said about the whole thing with the dollar, I said, I remember I was all like, yeah, that's the same dollar they gave these illegal immigrants. That's the same dollar they be giving foreign aid to. You know what I'm saying? That's the same dollar. If it's working for them, if you see they need help and that's the currency you give them, you give me that same currency. You know what I'm saying? Because apparently to you, that currency is worth a lot. If you giving it to everybody you deem worthy of your assistance, then give me that same thing too. We're not gonna. This is the same dollar that y'all be using every day. This is the same dollar that Jeff Bezos be using, that Elon Musk be using, that Mark Zuckerberg be using, that Bill Gates be using. Give me whatever they using. Give me that. Whatever they using, give me that right there. And then we're gonna go forward. Let me get to the next caller. Caller from, and I appreciate the caller's patience. Caller from area code 443. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Shalima. I'm calling from Maryland. How are you?
I'm good, sister. How you doing?
I'm blessed. Whew, highly favored. I've been sitting here listening, and I'm really excited about your show, and I thank you for bringing awareness. I'm sorry, I just ran to my phone, so hold on. Whew. All right. One, I'm from Maryland, And I'm very upset about what happened with our governor and our reparations and just getting the study done. And I'm really exhausted by so many different Black Americans that present themselves as Black Americans, but when they're in or have a microphone, they don't represent us well. And I think we are moving, I'm exhausted, and I'm moving to a point where as though this next or whatever elections that we're heading towards, we really need to start holding people accountable. I think we just get to the ballot box with a hope and a dream. And we're not in that fantasy anymore. And I think that they're trying to make reparations a conversation that will go away. And we need to bring more light to it. Because to me, there is no conversation about elections. It's no conversation about this country turning in the right direction until it's wrong. And that's what I think nobody's talking about. That's where we're at. That's the 250-year experiment. Y'all have created this. I mean, it amazes me because even coming up in public school and going to college, it just clicked to me in my 40s that we really built this country. When they teach us slavery as children, we don't really understand. It's so traumatizing to connect that somebody did that to someone that we love, that we somehow know in our spirit, but we don't know in our faces. And then as you get to be an adult and you constantly go through racism and trauma in the workplace or dealing with people or just choices and decisions. So I'm not asking. Elected, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, I don't care who got the check. It is time for us to demand our check. I'm not encouraging, I'm not influencing, I'm not telling somebody, I'm not making the story anymore. I'm saying we can't have a conversation until this issue is mitigated, and then we can move on. And yes, there will be other problems, but we need to stop struggling and stop trying to pull ourselves up from the bootstraps. Me being myself, went to college, did all the things the right way, have done things, is doing well, but could have been doing 1,000% better, not for myself, for our people, if we had the level of investment and money that we needed to build our communities. And I just think that as we get to this point in this conversation of reparations, we do need to start thinking about financially, fiscally, how we're going to spend this money, because it is going to help the children and our children's children 100, 300 years out. And so, yes, a lot of people are I don't think anybody should put rules and parameters around it. I think that consciously enough, we as a community need to start talking about what we need as a community, not what they can give us once this is passed. And I'll yield to all the other callers. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate that. I fully agree. That's why when he made the argument that why would Donald Trump give us reparations when black people don't vote for the Republicans or don't vote for Donald Trump, I said it's not up to him to determine if he feels like we're owed reparations. We're owed reparations from everybody in government. There would not be, the United States of America would not exist without FBA, without foundational Black Americans starting, building, maintaining, saving, fighting for this country. The United States of America would not exist. So we are owed reparations from everybody. We don't need to sit up there and continue to make our case, even though we're doing that just to raise the issue. But our case, they know what we're owed. So as far as Wes Moore, the governor in Maryland, as far as Wes Moore, he's over with. He completely canceled any further advancement of any political aspiration with him shutting down reparations like that. He completely squashed that chance for himself. But thank you. I appreciate your call. I want to make sure I get to everybody else. I appreciate that. Yeah. As far as reparations, we're not playing with that no more. And if we did have the amount of assistance early on that everybody else gets to have, we would be far better. The problem is not we not working hard enough. That's the argument they make to us to keep us thinking, well, maybe we do. Maybe we don't work hard enough. Maybe we don't work hard enough. No. We working harder than everybody else. That's the only way we're alive is because we're working harder than everybody else. Because y'all giving them handouts. And to be very honest, even though y'all giving them handouts, they not doing that much better than us. If we really want to be honest, considering the amount of handouts that you give these other people, the amount of leeway that you give these other people, the amount of aid that you give these other people, they should be doing tremendously light years better than us, but they're really not. They're not doing that much better than us, all things considered. So who is the financial illiterate people in this country when you consider all of this stuff? Thank you, sister. I appreciate your call. All right, let's get to the next caller. Shout out to Maryland. Caller from area code 302, you're on live. 312, you're on live. What's your name and where you calling from?
Deco Chief in a place to be. Calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Brother, what's on your mind, brother?
Can you hear me?
Talk to us, brother. Talk to us.
Hey, look, I was listening where Buddy was saying, like, we need financial literacy, right? The thing I know is we find a way to make things happen. You see what I'm saying? Now, people, as far as people who know me, they know my family. They doing their thing. But me, I ain't never quite make it. And if you know me, you know why. But I keep striving. Last time when we used to go to reparations meetings, I used to walk. Used to give me rides home. I got 4 cars now because I found the way. You see what I'm saying? And my businesses is doing good. But check this out. This is what I'm trying to say. I only know street stuff. So the best way I want to put this is like this, Afro, if you listen to me. Back in the 80s, man, if you don't mind me speaking street, when crack hit the land, you know what I'm saying? When people would be selling it, they would like hide it in the ground or put it in garbage and throw the bags on the ground. You know what I'm saying? And the police wasn't hip. You know what I'm saying? And eventually the police got hip, however they got hip. But then brothers, street dudes made it illegal to throw garbage on the ground with stuff in there because you can get anybody popped, so they get on you. So they started using the 00 bags. You dig what I'm saying? When that didn't work, you know what I'm saying? When they got hip to that, they flipped to the little Reynolds wrap bags because they could swallow them. Then the police got hip to that, started taking them to the hospital, pumping their stomachs. I know it sounds off topic, but it ain't. The thing I'm saying is, each time that they got hip to something that would stop us from making our money, we would move on to the next thing. You dig what I'm saying? I'm talking about just on the streets. You know what I'm talking about? That's because anywhere where it's a dollar to be made, because we've been deprived of it for so long and working for free, we gonna find a way to make it happen. So a person can't tell me, and that's just from the streets. My brothers and sisters, they powerful people. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even speaking on any other aspect. I'm just telling you, we gonna find a way. You know what I'm saying? So for somebody to say that we need financial literacy, man, no dude I was on the streets with had no financial literacy. I'm just telling you the way that they was, you know what I'm saying, eluding the police officer. I ain't telling you the way that brothers stacked it up. Brothers made money. You know what I'm saying? You figure it out eventually. Now that I'm older, I started out, you know what I'm saying, running to the store to go get lottery numbers for the little old people inside the neighborhood and cutting their grass before any of those bags and stuff. And now, at this point in time, I done rounded back around, and I'm on the same thing that I started with, but I'm getting money because I figured it out. You see what I'm saying? Without no class. You dig what I'm saying? But give me what's mine as far as reparations and watch me figure it out. Don't tell me what I can't do. That's because you wouldn't be able to do it if you know what I'm saying, if the shoe was on the other foot. I don't mean to be saying stuff because I know I might not be understood, but I mean what I'm saying, brother. They got to trust in foundational black Americans because we always made a way. We always made it happen. That's the only reason anything's happening here, period, in the greatest country on earth. I'm a land my plane. I apologize.
Appreciate you, brother. Let me tell y'all something. Do you guys know that the United States lottery, just on tickets alone, in a year, makes over $1.3 billion? $1.3 billion in just lottery tickets, just the tickets alone. Okay? Do you guys understand that? And do you guys understand that the whole concept of the lottery started with foundational Black Americans? It was called numbers counting. Okay? Now they banned it. Right. It was a completely new original concept that we started with the little bit of resources that we had. Now they're making annually hundreds of billions of dollars a year. They're making billions of dollars a year. And this is just certain states make that much money. Billions of dollars, one state making that much money. Okay? There's people who are rich beyond imagination just off of that. Just off of that. And it started with a concept that we created. Okay? Stuff we created. And then they said, okay, well, it's illegal for you to do it. But when we find a way to do it, we're going to do it. And now you get to do it when we control it. So we are the most innovative people you can possibly think of. This country would not be at all what it is if it wasn't for our innovation in so many aspects. So when you talk about illiteracy, I think we're geniuses. I think if you want, I think everybody should learn literacy from us. Everybody should learn. There's the thing of financial illiteracy, and then there's something better than that. There's creativity. There's ingenuity. To me, that's more empowering. To me, that's more rich. To me, that's more valuable. Right. You can be a good test taker, but a test can't make you creative. It can't. A test can't make you intuitive. It can't. A test can't make you be able to adapt to different situations and different environments and circumstances. It can't. You can just regurgitate what you've learned from a textbook or on the chalkboard. That's what a test can do. And I'm not trying to belittle the importance of that, but we got something way richer than that, way more important than that, way more empowering and valuable than that. Okay? And that's our creativity. Okay? That's our adaptability. That's our grit. That's our ingenuity that nobody else has. So if anything, they should be learning from us. That's how I see it. They should be learning from us. Right. But thank you, brother. Let me get to the rest of these calls, brother.
Yes, sir, brother. Peace.
All right, peace, brother. Yeah. Y'all talk about we need to learn from y'all. Don't y'all steal everything from us? How we gonna learn from people who steal from us? Y'all profiting off of our creation and y'all gonna sit up there and teach the class? Okay, all right. Caller from area code 216. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Sad from Ohio. So I just want to shift the focus. We're in the context of reparations. So here's the thing about reparations that we need to be strictly focused on. First and foremost, we have to always state it and frame it in the context of a debt. Mm-hmm. Reparations is a debt. They're not giving us anything they owe us. If I go to work 40 hours a week, 20 hours a week, you got some people who gonna smoke, drink on the weekend after they get their paycheck. Some people gonna save their money, buy them a car. Some people gonna save and buy a house. Some people but we all showing up for work to get our paycheck. Regardless to what I'm spending my money on, women, cars, dresses, clubs, whatever I'm doing. We working the same job. Everybody gonna do something different with their money. The majority of us, if we keep working, we're gonna, do the right, quote unquote, the right thing. We're gonna buy houses, buy cars, raise a family, so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. So you can't tell me at the end of the week, because I went out drinking and partying last weekend with my check, that I work for 40 hours a week, every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, I'm getting my check. You're going to tell me, okay, so you spent all your money partying, buying shoes, buying clothes, philandering and going out and partying, that I don't get to get my check. How that sound? So this is this whole false narrative that we got going on now. You're telling me that we already work for the money and that now we should not get paid. That's the false narrative. Those are sidetrack conversations that we should never deal with. If we've already worked, it's nothing else. If I want to go to the moon, if I want to go to Hawaii, if I want to go to New York and sleep on the street or whatever I want to do, that's my money. I work for it. So we've already worked for the money. So it's not, if you work 40 hours, you want your check at the end of the week. You be like, I want my check. There's no questions. I'm not talking about anything else. Hand it over, whatever. So let's move on. So Brother Tyrone, which I listened to him before, I've been watching him. But when somebody waffles the conversation and start shooting back and forth saying, we need to do all this before we get reparation, we need to do this, you already lost. You have already lost the conversation. You've already lost our vote. And we should have learned already from what we did with H.R. 40, from what's been done with a lot of other reparations conversation. We're not listening to that. You need to be on point, just like you said. Governor Westmore in Baltimore, Maryland. We're not listening to people who don't come straight on with the reparations conversation. If you flip the script, just like in California, they flipped the script at the last minute. That's the same play that they did in Maryland. That's the same, only it came from the governor. Only it came from the governor in California, really, because he was behind the scenes telling them, not to do what they was doing, not to vote for it. Because they had a plan, always got a clandestine plan to undermine whatever when we're talking about reparations. And so when a person waffles and don't get right to it, he was talking all over the board. I'm talking about Tyrone, the one you had on with Vicki Dillard. He all over the place. One minute he hears, he waffling, he want to do it, and then he don't want to do it, then he want to get in alignment. No, you got to be on point from Jump Street with reparations. As I stated, the conversation has to be solely grounded in chattel slavery reparations. We've already done the work. We've already contributed greatly to the country. We are not looking to hear any other conversation. Pay us the money, and we will decide, like the brother said, we will find a way. Most of us is going to do the right thing. Same thing on the job, without being redundant. You get your check from work, either you're going to do the right thing with that check and do what you need to do and raise your family, get your house, get your car, take care of your children, whatever. That's what's going to happen. But we got to stop being sidetracked by these conversations, or we have to redirect the conversation so our people understand that this is a sidetrack. When people are waffling on the reparations issue, when somebody, any of our people that come up as, I don't want to call them Sambles and Coons, but you understand what I'm saying. Everybody understands. We have to say what it is. You're cooning and you're samboing. That's what you're doing, and we can't. We're in dire straits, so we can't be, letting people just come in and just, I think about you, we need to do this, and, this and that and this. No, it's not. That's not the conversation. You have to be on code. And at this juncture, the way we've been doing this current reparations discussion for the last 6-7 years, now, you should not come into reparations conversation, don't know what the hell you're talking about. You should already be on code when you come and present yourself. Like, he should never come on Vicki Dillard's show talking about, because she's a reparationist. He should not have ever come on her show and been walking on it. Right there, that tells you right away he hasn't been following the conversation. He don't know what the conversation is about. He just trying to get in where he fit in. He think he can get a governorship based on him being a senator or whatever, based on him being black. We just gonna all come out and vote for. No, we're not gonna vote for flat blackness. We did that with Obama. We found out what that means, and we even in Chicago, Bobby Rush. You see how he changed? He was a Black Panther. We got to stop voting for flat blackness. We got to stop following blackness. If they don't say exactly what we need them to say, then we're not listening to them. We're not following them. We're not voting for them, and we don't want to hear anything else that they got to say. So, brother, I really appreciate you in my car.
Let me add this. Let me add this. Not only that, what we've been doing, an issue we've been having, and I'm gonna let you get the last word. The issue we've been having is we've been telling ourselves that it's okay that these people do not openly advocate for us, like Obama, like Bobby Rush, like all of these other black politicians. We've been telling ourselves that, well, we know they can't say it or else they're not going to be able to get in. We've been conditioning ourselves and pacifying ourselves, telling ourselves this lie that they can't say it because talking pro-black is too controversial. So let's wait for them to get in on some chess move stuff, and then wink wink, when they get in, they gonna hook us up. And we've never seen that happen. Yet these people, because black people are quote unquote too controversial to discuss openly prior to getting in office, we're too quote unquote controversial to advocate for publicly through your campaign. But illegal immigration is not too controversial. No, that's never too controversial to advocate for. Transgender bathrooms is never too controversial to advocate for. Giving foreign aid is never too controversial to advocate for. None of these other things are ever too controversial to advocate for, despite its popularity, that or lack of popularity. But when it comes to us, we tell ourselves we're too controversial, to advocate for. So let's let them get in, and we're gonna get hooked up later. And we've never seen that work. So at this point, you need to be loud. You need to say it with your chest. Scream from the mountaintops about reparations. Okay? You need to be loud and proud about it, the same way you are with all these other issues. As a matter of fact, louder about our issues than you are with all these other people before we start believing you. So I fully agree. I'll let you get the last word.
Okay, so yeah, you are right to come and say that we think we're going to get the hookup later after we vote for them. Like you said, you need to be loud and proud from Jump Street, from Front Street, from the get-go. We need you to be right on reparations. So if a person is not on reparations, don't even consider them. Don't even. Our code mantra and our foundational principles that we standing on 10 toes, standing on business. We're not going to talk to anybody who doesn't have a full-scale reparations package grounded in chattel slavery. I don't want to even talk about anything else. I don't want to hear. We know we went through Jim Crow. We know we had lynching. We know we had black coats. We know we had a number of things that has gone on that was specifically against foundational black Americans. We know we have had these things that take place. This convict leasing, all these other things, these police beatings and lynchings and murders and so forth. We know all of that. That's specifically for foundation black Americans. But we need to be grounded in chattel slavery. Let me just close by saying this right here. So there's been, over the last 20 years, there's been about 4 or 5 different bailouts in the trillions of dollars. Let's start with the most recent bailout, if you will, about the pandemic. They found $2.3 trillion, $4 trillion, $5 trillion, $6 trillion to do the bailout. No questions asked. They didn't say, we can't find the money. Oh, what are we going to do? Man, that money came within 8, 9, as soon as Trump got in, within 9 months, after he got in, Biden did it in 9 months. I think Trump did it in the first 10 months or a year, whatever. It was $5 trillion or whatever. Both of them did $1 trillion packages. They didn't consider anything. They said, oh, we need to fix this. We can't let the country fall. They didn't say, well, we don't have the money. Where are we going to get it from? Nobody questioned. Everybody wanted to check, and everybody was like, okay, yeah, we got to get trillions. So they spent trillions for that. Let's take it one step further, back when Obama was president. When the bank failure came with the savings loan bust, they got so many different names for you. You all know what I'm talking about. That was $29 trillion. $29 trillion. They didn't say a single word about the $29 trillion that was spent to bail those banks out in Wall Street and the insurance company, everything. 29 trillion. Did you hear one gripe or one beef, or was anybody sent to jail for busting up those banks and spending that money? They didn't even spend the money. We're so concerned about somebody buying some Gucci and some BMWs and some Mercedes-Benz and Cadillacs and so forth and so on. But did you talk about all them bankers who did not spend one penny in jail? Some of them got balloon payoffs in the millions of dollars for being the CEOs. Did you say the banks was at fault for driving those banks in the ground? Did anybody say the banks don't know how to spend their money, so we should shut them down? They shouldn't get. Why are we giving them $29 trillion? Did anybody say something? I'm going to speed it up because I know I don't want to be long-winded, but I'm just showing you how the money is there. They can pull the money out their ass at any moment that they want to. Let's just end with the ones when we had the 2001 911, when the towers came down. That same day, I would never forget, all the planes was grounded. So all airlines had to be stopped. Every airline in this country, it was a mandatory, all airlines stop flying right now until we figure out what the hell is going on. The airlines, all of them, the stewardess, everybody who worked for the airlines got a bailout. All those airlines got paid. The same thing happened during the pandemic. All the airlines got paid because they couldn't fly. People. So all of this money for these trillions, that was some trillions did for that 911. It was trillions. So what I'm saying, stop saying that the country don't have money to pay us our reparations. Let me rephrase that because it's not giving us. They have the money. And so any black politician or any black pseudo down with you, brother, I'm cool and all. No, the country has the money. Don't get in our faces, tell us who's going to pay the debt. Same with the MAGA crowd and so forth. Who's going to pay it? It's not, you got immigrants come out talking about, we don't owe you no reparations. You wasn't here. You came when everything was built. We not even talking to you. Why you even have a say in our conversation about reparations? We don't even include you. That goes for all Latino immigrants. I don't care where they from, Europe, whatever. You don't have a say in what's going on with FBA, the foundation of this country, who built the country, what made it possible for you to be here. I close right there, brother. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all of y'all.
Thank you, brother. That's 100% true. That's 100% true. He was cooking. And I appreciate y'all patience. I know y'all been waiting for a long time, and I appreciate y'all patience. We will start to adapt more phone, like call-ins and stuff like that, because I know y'all got a lot on y'all mind. So we'll definitely do that, but let me get to these other couple callers. Caller from area code 313. You're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is William. I'm calling from Burbank, California.
What's on your mind,
And I'm
brother?
just calling to say, this is a bill that is owed, and as far as I'm concerned, with penalties and interest, and we are now in the punishment phase. Because when you owe somebody money, you don't sit there and say, well, before I pay you, like the other brothers say, I need you to take a financial literacy test. Try that with your light company, your gas company, or anybody else that you have to pay a bill to. Tell your apartment manager that if you are a mortgage company, I need you to take some financial literacy courses before I give you all this money. Now, the idea that you would even entertain financial literacy when a debt is owed to you is an act of financial illiteracy if you even consider this. So when people come up and say something about financial literacy, the first thing we should do is click, turn them out. Like I said, we are in the penalties and interest phase. As a matter of fact, we've moved on to punishment. What can we do to these people that don't want to pay us our money? How can we punish them? Can we sanction them? Will we take payment plan? Like, look, we'll season oil refineries. We can take over a couple of states. Give us the 12 southernmost states or something like that. Something like that. This is how we need to look at it, and we need to look at it as a nation of people so that we can move and get things done. And I'm going to land my plane on that. But this idea of even entertaining financial literacy about a debt, rubbish.
I agree. I fully agree. Yeah, As far as the financial literacy, they don't have the right to tell us. Imagine you telling your landlord, "Yeah, I need to do a mental health evaluation before I give you your rent." Imagine that. He go, "Oh, okay, well let me hurry up, write this eviction notice up for you." Oh, they don't play that game with nobody else. Y'all didn't give Ukraine a mental health evaluation before y'all gave them money. Y'all damn sure don't do that with Israel. Y'all don't do that with nobody else. Y'all don't do that to people that y'all didn't even really harm here. Y'all don't do that with illegal immigrants, and damn sure they need the financial literacy and they need a mental health evaluation, but y'all don't give that to them. Y'all didn't do that with the Japanese who were in internment camps. Y'all didn't do that with the Native Americans. Y'all not gonna start the mental health evaluation requirements for reparations with us. No, if y'all didn't set that standard with anybody else, y'all didn't set that standard when y'all did the Homestead Act. Y'all didn't, when y'all invited all those Europeans over here and gave them money and gave them resources, gave them houses and all of that stuff. There was no mental health evaluations. There wasn't a mental health evaluation with the G1 bill. There wasn't a mental health evaluation at all, or a financial literacy requirement at all. Y'all not gonna set that standard with us. No. That's insulting, to be honest. For them to try to set that standard with you is insulting to you. That's belittling your intelligence for them to say, okay, they get to have it, but you need extra requirements in order for us to give it to you. I just don't know about. That's insulting. It's disrespectful. All right? And you owe it more to me than you did to them, and you gave it to them with no problem. So no, we're not doing that. But appreciate you, brother. Thank you. All right. Caller from area code 725. You're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Marcus McCullough. I reside in Las Vegas. I'm listening to you all I'm on the road. I'm a truck driver, CDL truck driver. And can you hear me clearly?
I can. Yeah, I got you.
And how are you doing today?
I'm good, brother. I'm pretty good. I'm good.
Yeah, you're a wonderful dude, man. And I really appreciate all the callers that came in, because everything they had to say was so on point, was very powerful. Even the brother talking about figuring out how to make $1 from the street, everything everyone said was so valuable, invaluable in fact. Mm-hmm. So what I want to add to build off of that is to basically say, in 1990, we had Japanese Americans that got reparations.
Mm-hmm.
In 1986, 32 million from the Treasury went to the Ottawa of Michigan. In 1985, from the U.S., 31 million went to the Chippewa of Wisconsin. Okay? The same year, 12.3 million went to the Seminole of Florida. And then in 1980, the Sioux from South Dakota and from Clement Falls in Oregon got 81 million. This is all from reparations from the U.S. government money. 1 billion plus 44 million acres of land went to Alaska Native land settlement. Mm-hmm. Then in 1952, the Germans got 822 million as Holocaust survivors. These are Jewish, German Jewish settlement. I have a question on that last one. How did they get this money from the U.S. government to pay them that when we're not Germany? We have to conquer Germany and then rebuild it, and then to add insult to injury, we're farming out all of our financial outpatient care to pay a reparations debt to them. But guess how much Black Americans got, or I should say, the original the original people that were here before those people, even the Europeans, even set foot on this land. We were already here. We're the original people. We're not Alaskans. We're not Samoans. We're not, Mongolian. We're not these people that are pretending to be us. We lost, not only did we lose all our land and our resources, we lost our damn identity to boot because they're miseducating us. Now, if you gave me millions of dollars in reparation money, I would start schools. I've already got a plan. I figured out how to make it become self-generating financially from within the school so that even when I die, it can continue to build upon itself and replicate itself from state to state. Because I want our children back. I want the minds of our children back. I want us to educate our children so that they're not being lied to. I'm 61 years old, and I'm coming to find out, because I'm a self-taught person, that everything I ever thought I knew was a lie growing up in the European educational system. I lost my knowledge of self. I used to think we all came from Africa. It took me the last 10 years to figure out who we really are, and that we were the original people here before anybody else came here. So all I'm saying, and I'm going to wrap it up, all I'm saying is, if you gave me the money, I would do I would further push reparative self-knowledge and self-development by taking back our nation out of the minds of our children. So that we can, because without the minds of our children, we won't have a future. But we're owed that money, and it's just incredible that they're sending trillions of dollars to Ukraine, but are overlooking us and telling us we have to justify, explain ourselves, and rationalize why we are owed that money. It's a damn shame. We haven't figured we need to be holding court in the street. We need to be marching on Washington, million-man march. And I'll land my plane there.
I agree, brother. Thank you. Thank you for that. And my thing, and the argument I've been making, a lot of people come up with really good ideas and really good arguments, and like I said, the solution is a really all of the above solution. When it comes to nation building, it's really an all of the above solution. Yeah, we do need to focus on, because if you don't focus on the next generation and you just focus on the here and now, then the next generation that's coming up, because eventually there's going to be another generation coming up. The children are not going to stay children. They're going to grow up. They're going to be adults. And if we don't get them ready to continue to make this wealth expand, then eventually it's all going to be for nothing. At least as far as the grand scheme of the empowerment of the community. So the education of the children is very important. Is crucial. All right. Now, like I said, my thing is not to tell people what to do.
Let me interject. The reason why I even brought that up is not to make that the main dish. Make sure you understand me well. If I set up these schools, they will already have classes on economics built in as mandatory and how to invest. And I have a plan to generate, like I trade online. Like I trade world currencies. I trade things of that nature. I would create the school so they would be self-financially generating, and then it would be built in to educate the children to know how to handle a dollar. So when they keep talking about, well, we can't give you this because if you get this, then you just spend it on bling bling. First of all, think of the arrogance of telling a person that when you owe them money, like the previous caller said, and then it shows the mindset, even of black men that want to get into politics. What they want to do is treat us like we're children the way the white man does. So like you said earlier, how does that distinguish them any different than the white man? And then he had the nerve to go into this thing about how we would be monsters and criminals and persecute our own people. So you really think that badly about your own people, but yet you want to be in political office to lead us? I would never vote for that person.
That's what I said, brother. When he was all like, yeah, we would never get it when a white person's in office. Okay, but let's be honest, how long have we been putting black people in office? How many black mayors
Right.
have we had? How many black governors? How many black representatives? How many black people in Senate? How many black people in the city council? How many black elected officials have we been putting in office and keeping in office? If we get told
And
that,
they
okay,
sell
we
us
ain't gonna
out
do it with
every
white folks in
time.
office,
They
so we
sell
continue to
us
put
out
black folk in
every
office, and we
time.
ain't seen no progress. And in fact, the black people in office have been being the ones who've been blocking the progress. They've been the ones doing the most bold deflection of reparations and of our progress. They've been
Yes.
the ones who said, look at me, I made it, so where's no problem no more. I'm gonna let you get
Yes,
the last word, brother.
They sell us out. They sell us out every time, and we need to do something about that. Well, I mean, if you know, if you see a pattern and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same results, isn't that the definition of insanity? So we think we can actually put a person in position, and they're really going to fight for us. Now, Marcel won't fight for us, but we got to find people who have that kind of integrity and heart, and that are really connected to the bloodline and to our ancestral spirit. They got that Majora spirit. We got to find those people, and then we got to make them beholden to us. The reason why they sell us out is because they're politicians. They're being bought by the white supremacists. We have to buy our own politicians, and I'll leave it there.
Yep, appreciate. Yeah. Now, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. I think we'll wrap it up here.
I've been listening to you for over a year. You and Black Alpha and so many others, like Jason Black, Professor Black. I love you guys, man. Like when I was in my 20s, I robbed a bank with a gun because I was trying to get the money to start the Black Panther Party all over again. Of course, I had to go down for a good 4 years. They tried to give me 12. I got in that law library, and I gave that time back to them and got back to my family after 4 years. And I've always started businesses on a shoestring budget. We are incredible people. Don't let nobody ever tell you nothing different. I'm not going to take up too much of your time because we got so many other people to get to. I love you, brother. I love you, brother. I love you, brother. You honor me by being alive. Peace.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your call. And I appreciate your support. And most importantly, more than your call, I appreciate your support. All right.
Yes, you got that.
That's all our brothers and sisters. Be one to him. I think we'll wrap the calls up right there. I think that's a good point. I will say, just because we are on a public platform, this channel does not in any way condone any type of criminality or anything like that. He did his time. He made it out. 4 years, he probably took a deal. But who knows? He made it to his family. He made it to his, that's the point. I'm just saying that this channel doesn't approve of that. But the thing is, as far as the point for reparations, he's exactly correct. Like, for instance, let's take Marcel, for example. Since Marcel has popped up, since we've known about Greg Marcel Dixon, his stance on reparations has never changed. Anytime somebody brings up reparations to him, it's never, okay, well, you said that in this interview, and now you kind of saying a little bit something different. It's never been, no, I'm on the fence. It doesn't matter if he's doing an interview with one of us. It doesn't matter if he's doing an interview on Fox News. It doesn't matter, whatever the case is. See, this is what we can get behind. How we want you to start off right, and we want you to be right the entire way through. We don't need you to start off wrong and then have to educate yourself. We don't have time for that. No, we don't have time for that. If you don't know about reparations, first off, you in the wrong field, because you really do. Ain't nobody who jumping into politics don't know about reparations. That's not true. Okay, there's nobody. That's not true. Okay, presidents have acknowledged reparations before. Governors have acknowledged reparations. So for you to enter into politics, you have to know about current political issues, which is what reparations is. It's a current political issue. So for you to be all like, oh, I'm not really that educated about well, then you too uneducated to be involved in politics. Okay, we need a firm, clear, unapologetic, non-ambiguous, crystal clear yes for lineage-based reparations, not no HR 40 study nonsense, not no free school voucher nonsense, not no DEI nonsense. We need a clear, concise yes for cash payments, for lineage-based reparations, that all the way through your entire campaign. If I see you slip up, you done. That's how deep it is. That's how serious it is. That's how serious this is. Okay? And if I see you saying you will, but the thing is that when somebody else asks you, you be like, oh, I don't really know. If you don't know, I don't know. How about that? If you don't know, I don't know. You get cold feet, I get cold feet. Hey, okay? You can't expect us to ride with you more than you ride with us. You can't expect us to back you more than you back us. You can't expect us to support you more than you support us. And you expect us to support you the entire way through, then you need to support us the entire way through, and then some. Yes, the entire way through and then some. Okay? When you back out, I'll back out. That's how it's going to be. All right? And that's the standard that we need to have moving forward. Let me acknowledge the cash outs from my brother Walter, LaTravis, I appreciate you. Lim, appreciate you. Brian, thank you very much, my brother. Kiana, thank you, Kiana, I appreciate you. Latrivia, thank you very much. These are the cash apps. I appreciate you all. Let me get to the super chats. I want to make sure you guys are appreciated. Sadaku says FBA reparations must be grounded exclusively in chattel slavery. Any attempts to insert pseudo sidebar stipulations detract and undermine our mission. That's true. That's true. All of these little requirements, all of these little stipulations, you got to have a mental health check. Now you got to have a physical. Then you got to have an x-ray. Then you got to have a financial literacy class. Then you got to pass a math test. Then there's an algebra exam. All of that's no. And y'all did not set that precedent when y'all give everybody else that stuff. And y'all did it even though they didn't deserve it, but y'all did it to give them an advantage over us. Y'all did it solely for the purpose of giving them an advantage over us. These people didn't, coming from Europe with the Homestead Act, they didn't earn a damn thing. They didn't deserve a damn thing. You guys did that solely to give them an advantage over us. And now we got to pass all of these requirements and jump through loops of fire and not. No, we're not even talking that way. We're not talking that way. No. No. And anybody who says that, you automatically, okay, you can see yourself out, sir. You can see yourself out, sir or ma'am, or whatever you identify as, or whatever the case is, you can see yourself out. No. Yeah. Freedman's Network says, hey, Afro, just checking in. Appreciate you checking in, brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. My brother Cyberdon says, we in school of new black media. Cut the check. Absolutely. Cut the check. We not playing these games. Cut the check. If you ain't about it, you need to step aside because you wasting our time. We got valuable time. Okay. And then my brother, Cold Chief sends a super sticker. Thank you very much for your super sticker. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate all y'all support. We've been on here for a good minute now, but I think we can put to bed this whole financial literacy argument. This is a bad faith argument. When you make this, not only are you not saying, oh, you need financial literacy and I want that and, or I would do this and. Notice all of the callers. There's a lot of callers that I disagree with. I mean, not disagree with, sorry, I agree with, but they have different opinions about it. I can see where they're going with it. Okay. Now, that don't mean that I'm going to do that, but I can see where they're going with it. If somebody said, I want to take my reparations and I want to spend it just traveling the world. I want to go to every place in the world on a vacation. I'm not doing that. If you want to do it, you can do it. I'm not going to say you don't deserve it because you ain't going to do what I want to do. Even the argument, even the talking point of people, we're going to waste our money. The argument of wasting our money. Okay. Who's to determine what is a waste of your money? Let's think about that. Let's think about that. While you got folks out here making the argument that we're going to waste our money and that our money isn't going to do us any good, who is going to determine to another grown adult what is good for them or not? We're having this conversation like we're a bunch of adolescents, like we're a bunch of teenagers where their parents are determining what we're going to do with our allowance money. If you want to travel the world, who am I to tell you that that's a waste of your money if that's what you want to do? If you want to go spend all your money on a whole bunch of Cadillacs, who am I to tell you that's a quote unquote waste? Now, am I going to do that? No. Do I think that there's more beneficial things to do with the money? Yes. Do I have the right to tell you it's a waste? Not really. Now, do I think that that's probably not the smartest way to spend it? I do. I can have that opinion. I can't tell you that because that's your money. If you wanted to take your money and you wanted to go to the North Pole and make a big igloo and live in your igloo, you want to buy a nice big coat and live in your igloo for the rest of your life on the ice and be eating frozen fish, and you want to use your money to burn for fire, I don't think that makes sense. Is that me? Can I tell you, even if I think it, even if it's that in my opinion, can I tell you it's a waste? No. I don't get the right to determine if that's a waste of money to you. You have your own life. If you want to do that, if you value that in life, that's your choice. I can't call you stupid for that. I might think it's stupid. I don't have the right to call you stupid because that's your money. They don't have the right to call us stupid. I don't have the right. I might think, man, that's probably not the smartest idea, but okay. That's not my right to say that to somebody else. It doesn't matter what I think about it. It doesn't matter. I'm okay with the cold as far as winter is concerned. I ain't never planning on living in an igloo. But if you want to do that, it's your right. Is it a waste? To you, it's not a waste. To me, it is a waste. But it's your money, so technically it's not. How about that? How about we put it in that context? It's a waste. Who's to determine what is wasteful and what is not wasteful with the money? If you want to buy Cadillacs and Jordans and fancy jewelry and designer clothes, is that a waste? To me, maybe. Is that a waste to you? Yes. What if somebody says, I want to invest all my money in stocks and bonds? Somebody might call that a waste. Person A might not see it as a waste. Person B might see it as a waste. What if I say, I want to invest all my money in buying this big building, and I'm going to rent the building out. I'm going to renovate the building. I'm going to buy a hotel. Somebody might say that's a waste. To person A, it might be a waste. To person B, it might not be a waste. But to person A, it's their money. And that's all that matters. And that's the end of the conversation. We put a period right there. That's the end. It's not a waste to them. It's their money. And with that, we close the conversation of the financial literacy issue. It's their money. Are you financially literate enough to tell me because I have a different business strategy than you? Do you know how many business people disagree with each other? Who is the most let me ask you a question. Who is the most financially literate person in the world? It's not the most financially literate person in the world ain't the richest person in the world because they get handouts. So move the table, scratch off all of the people who get handouts and who's the most financially literate people in the world. And I submit to you that that's us. That's what I think. I submit to you that that is us. We are the most financially literate people because we're the only survivors out of all of this atrocities that's been going on. That's what I think. That's what I think about it. Get a little thing right there. That's what I think. And nobody can tell me different. It's my opinion, and I ain't going to change it. Now, family, if y'all didn't get the notifications, y'all can follow me on my various social media pages. That's Afro Elite on Instagram and then the Afro Elite on Twitter. All right? In the description below. And it's very important that you guys hit that like button. Okay? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Make sure you do all of that stuff. Hit all of those buttons. Make sure you do that. Please and thank you, brothers and sisters. I appreciate y'all's support. Welcome new subscribers. Absolutely welcome new subscribers. We appreciate you tremendously. And with that being said, Black First, brothers and sisters, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all. Y'all stay blessed.